So, welcome back. We don't have Chris today. Chris is on assignment. He had to back out last minute, which is fine. He wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it to begin with.
He's a busy man.
He's a busy guy. Busy man with busy plans, which reminds me of a Cameron lyric where he's like, you know what is awesome about Cameron? Is he would shit on you for doing normal things. like for just being like a good person or whatever.
I was going to say it's the apostrophe in his name.
Yeah, that too. But he said, "You're a family man. Probably drive a family van. Got a lot of family plans."
Why is it so bad? I don't know.
It's like hating on growing up.
It sounds like a burn.
Yeah, he's a Toys R Us kid.
So I've actually been thinking a little bit about stuff you've been saying recently, Joey.
Oh, me?
And, yep, and applying it, and actually, and signing on board, mainly to letting some things that we hold on to for no real reason go, right? Like cursive, right? Mm-hmm. I'm ready, I think, to give up the analog clock, right?
Yeah.
What?
I don't think we need it.
We don't.
You know, and at some point we had to let the sundial go.
Yes,
you know, at some point we all sort of collectively went, you know what, this is better. Yeah. Let's let the sundial go. So, like, I was having the conversation at work recently, and well, not too recently because I've been off for a while. You see the beard growing.
Yes,
but my Yasser Arafat, as it were,
not quite there yet.
Yeah, this is for everything going on. This is for my thoughts and prayers in the Middle East right now.
They need it.
But like, I was having this conversation at work, and then somebody was like, "Well, there's an analog clock right here that was on the wall," and they were right. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Yeah, but would you be okay if it was a digital clock?"
Yeah.
They were like, "Well, yeah, I guess so."
It would be quicker.
Yes.
You know, it would just be like, it tells you what time it is.
Less room for mistakes.
Yep.
You know, because
Would it really be quicker though?
Yeah, you just look at the numbers. You don't have to read it at all.
Yeah, maybe
you don't have to interpret.
Maybe I'm a savant or something.
Yeah.
Like,
It'll tell you.
I look at that clock and
I'm a savant.
And I instantly, it's 2:15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, what if it's 2:18? Are you sure it's 2:17 or 2:18?
I have fucked it up before.
How accurate do you need to be?
But you don't need to, but it's there already.
But for me, it's like, it's not even a problem. Like, you put something on the grill and you look at the clock and you're like, I want to leave this on for 8 minutes. And I go, oh, it's 2:12. All right, 2:20. Like, it's not
but I know what you mean.
I know, but it's even easier
it's more,
with the numbers.
It's even easier. It's more exact. So this has been leading me to like, okay, like exploring the idea of what else should we get rid of. Mm-hmm. Here's the next thing I came to: Roman numerals.
Yeah.
So we ended up having a conversation.
Let that go a long time. They just look cool. Oh, same with clocks. They look cool. If you want it
yes,
for like
they do look cool.
If you want it for a display piece, like a grandfather clock.
But Roman numerals is slightly different because we have numerals.
Right.
They're just a replacement.
They're American numerals.
Yeah, they're just
no, they're actually Arabic.
Well, you know what I mean. They're not Roman.
But people don't realize that numbers are Arabic.
I didn't know that actually.
But that one's just
are those representations of numbers are Arabic? Like that symbol?
The symbols are Arabic.
Really? Are they? Yeah. That's cool.
For math.
And when you write them properly, the old way, each number has the amount of angle it is per number. So 4 has 4 angle in it. 1 has 1 angle. That's why you have that thing on top. Huh. There's 1 angle.
How about
2,
that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
3.
It
you have to write. You have to write it like an E. A backwards E.
3.
Well, that's not really it. That's a curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm guessing that they did it probably. You know,
get all weird with it.
So it led to a exercise at home of like how much Roman numerals do we actually know. Mm-hmm. So what I figured out is that I struggled because we went up. We like after a while you can do increments.
Yeah.
I struggled with 1, 1,000, 51, 6, and 500, and I can tell you I'm livid. I am LIVID.
Son of a bitch. That was such a long setup. Yep. Son of a fuck.
Yeah, this is what happens when Bobby's off for a while.
You got too much time. And Chris is not here.
He's
Jesus.
got way too much fucking time.
That was a digital clock amount of time.
Yeah, but I want to go back to the digital clock thing. Right. So is it saving enough time to be worth not having people have such a basic ability to translate stuff? So like for you and me and Bobby, it's fine,
Yeah.
right? Because we're not struggling with other things in this world.
Mm-hmm.
But if we make everything so easy, like, do we just ruin the next?
It's
group of
not
people?
about easy. It's just about like more efficient and replacement. We do that with everything. Why do we have a fucking
but-
nail gun instead of just hammering every fucking nail? It's the same
But
thing.
I'm just saying, like, in general, like, we keep moving towards efficiency.
Yeah.
But is it making the people better?
That's a subjective measurement.
Yeah, I'm just
Like
just
if,
throwing
if,
it out. I'm
if
not
you
saying
if you
that
take
it's right
if
or
you
wrong.
if you take out, I'm not sure saying schools are doing this, but in my mind, what you could do is if you take out the time you take to read a clock or write cursive, you can use that time for learning something more useful.
Do you think they will?
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying, though, right? Like you are saving because, like, I remember at the end of the school year, usually there's like 3 to fucking 10 chapters left at the end of the book. Maybe you could get a little bit further in the book if you weren't bogged down with dumb shit.
Right,
Like
but-
in the English class, maybe you could get a little bit further if you weren't fucking writing cursive. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying that it's a waste of time for this elective stuff. Just like was calligraphy is an elective. You can learn it. It looks fucking great, but you don't have to use it.
Right, but I think that like the whole reading a clock and making change for $1. and
Well,
all
making
that
change
kind-
is different. That's just basic math. But what argument is there for for an analog clock?
But I think that is early in the development of learning kind of stuff that helps. That's the foundational stuff that they're building upon to get to the tougher stuff.
I mean, I don't know if
So like the same argument be like, why do we have a 12-hour system or a 24-hour
we
system?
should have a 24-hour system.
You know,
The 12-hour system. I've seen the analog clock that has 24 hours on it before. That's useful.
but the digital clock, like you can't just look at it and say it's 3 p.m. because it's going to say 1500.
You should.
They can say 3 p.m. too.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like it isn't the I know it's instant, it's efficient. If I have to convert it to PM.
PP. But
PPM.
I can have a little light. Lights up PM next to it.
also, like,
But it wouldn't be 1500 PM.
No,
No.
it should be 15. No,
No.
but I think.
But if it said 3,
that is the thing I think I've ever since I learned about military time, I feel like everyone should know military time because it clears things up so much more.
I just think there's value.
I think part of why we had the 12-hour clock is because of the fucking analog clock.
I think this is something that we can explore another day. I think we're a little crunched for time.
Oh yes, we are. But
Although
we
this
don't
isn't-
have a
you know,
fourth.
we don't have a fourth.
Me and Phil gets deep into
No,
this.
this
shit.
is. I think it actually.
maybe when we go watch 28
yeah.
years later,
we can talk throughout the movie because
Yeah,
Good thing it's
whole
years
movie.
and not hours, you know, because then we'd have to go back to the clock conversation.
they would need analog clocks in the 24 years later because they probably have no
It's
fucking
getting
electronics.
shit on.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
I wish you wouldn't have said that.
yeah. I wish I hadn't read that.
Poisoned well there. Okay.
Well, I disagree
But
with a lot of people normally.
So here's the thing. Typically, I tend to agree with critic reviews and less with people's reviews.
Yeah.
The critics are praising it. The people are shitting on it.
Oh, so you might like it.
I might like it.
Yeah.
But here we go. Joey, you got your coffee first. Farrell, how was your nerd week?
All right. So I was dog and house sitting for a friend of mine
Separately?
Weekend. No, dog was at the house.
Okay.
but no, actually the dog came with me a lot of places.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, so it was kind of like a low key, like no partying because like, what am I gonna do with the fucking dog at the bar?
Pick up chicks. Hello.
Got
Who wants to
interrupt.
talk to him?
When I was at Rehoboth, old guy there, probably retired. I'll be honest with you, given the location and how short his shorts were, I assumed he was a homosexual. Just being honest. But he had a dog that was dressed up in a little bathing suit, a little Dachshund in a little bathing suit. Let me tell you something. Female magnet.
Yep.
And he was like, and I could tell it was all part of the plan. And eventually this one dude, cause he must be a local, this one dude came up and was just like, he was like, any luck today? And my man said, just a couple bites.
Now you pointed out the location and the length of his shorts.
Correct.
As being a
Indicative, perhaps indicative.
Maybe a gaydar, right? A signal on the gaydar. I would have gone straight to dog wearing bathing suit has been.
Also, like short lengths are getting shorter again. Like we're the old ones.
Yes.
Because there was a time when shorts were below the knees. That
Yeah.
was
That's
a while
still
back.
me.
Yeah, I'm still kind of around
But
the
then,
knee.
and then like above the knee. But now it's like mid thigh. Now is this normal?
Yeah, I think that there is a fashion trend that goes that way and has been actually for a couple years now.
Yeah. And what's going on with that?
I'm adamantly against it. I typically agree with women where I think the male form should be covered as much as possible.
It was normal when we were growing up.
Yes, and it was dumb.
Dumb then, dumb now. So, all right. So I know that I know that some of the stuff you're not super into, but I want to try to get into something that's where you might find some interest in it. So on Sunday night, I played a baccarat tournament at the casino.
Okay.
Sounds like you.
And it was free for me to get into.
Uh-huh.
But it's the first time I played a tournament like this with this game structure. So without understanding how to play baccarat, because we're not going to get into that. So you get a certain amount of coins that you can bet. There's a max bet, and the goal is just to have the most out of your people at your table. And people, when they go to zero, they get eliminated. They don't get to play anymore. So baccarat is you bet on one outcome or the other, and there's no other decisions to make. So the prize pool for this tournament was $100,000.
Oh.
Right. So the structure was you have to win your table in the first round, then you have to win your table in the second round,
Okay.
and then as long as 10 people move on to the final, except for the 10th person in their chip stack after the second round, that last person gets eliminated. So they win the round, but they get fucked and they get nothing.
What the?
And the top 9 split 100,000.
Okay.
I got 11th place.
Oh my God.
So it was heads up, second round, me and this other dude. I had more chips than him, but not double the max bet away from him. And he made a mistake, but I did so you can like place a secret bet, so because like part of it is you get to know what they're betting sometimes. And I didn't think that he would make such a boneheaded mathematical, like simple.
Oh, he fucked up and
mistake.
fucked you.
Dim-witted.
Yeah,
I just heard that term today, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a good one to bring back." Dim-wit.
And had he played what I mean, I've asked
What he
Grok,
should have played?
I've asked ChatGPT. Like I've put messages. Like this fucking kept me from sleeping. Right?
It's 10K.
And people are like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, why wouldn't he do that?" And I was like, "I know. I should have won that round."
Yeah.
And then so I stayed around for like 10 minutes after I lost, and I'm like just like pacing, like you know, like fucking asshole. I can't fucking believe he did that shit. And the final table, they chopped $70,000 equally amongst. So they took all the prize money and they chopped it 9 ways, and then they played for the last 30%. So I was one hand. Either if I chose it right, I would have won, or if he would have played correct, I would have won from chopping up
You could have gotten like 10K.
like 8,000 plus playing for another, 20,000.
Yeah.
Just on a Sunday night for free.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
And I was just like, it's
What if that guy did that on purpose and fucked you, and it wasn't a dim
No.
move, and it was like a fucking next level God gamer move?
it was a procedural mistake.
Okay.
So like you have to make the bet in one motion.
Yeah.
So that you're not like getting information out of other people. And he like moved like some chips out and was like, and then went back and was like, "No, I think I'm going to max bet it." And they're like, "Sorry, sir, your bet's already placed." And I was like, "Oh no, he wants to, he wants to bet. Like let him bet."
I played a lot of games, cards over the past week.
Spades.
A lot of spades and 5,000, which I haven't played in a long time.
Is that like
It's like a rummy based game.
I was about to say, just a multiplication of 500?
So here's the thing. I know that 500 is like a more popular game. I've never learned how to play it, and I've never played it. I've only ever played 5,000.
I wonder if it's just everything times 10.
I don't know. So like it's a real quick breakdown.
Yeah.
Sets of 3, runs of 4. Aces can go at the top or the bottom.
Yeah, they swing.
And I like the sound of it. And jokers are wild. And you deal the hand by, like, I would deal the first card face up to Joey. And let's say it's a 4. He gets 4 cards. 4 additional cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I deal to you. Anything over a 9 is 10, except an ace is 15.
Most places say 11, but okay. 15.
And then when I deal my hand, let's say I deal 3, and then I go 1, 2, and the third card I flip face up, and that card is also wild. And then you can play on other people's shit. I don't know if you can do that in 500.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can play on
So you can complete quads, or you can extend straight.
Yep. And
so there's
and
a
then-
wild card element.
yeah, and the wilds are 200, aces are 100, 10 to king is 10, and then everything else is 5.
So it's like it's all about the 10s.
Or
the hundreds.
Them wilds, them wilds and them aces. And then when you go out, you collect everybody else's hand, and that goes into your points as well.
So it's like three hands, and somebody's going to win. 3 or 4 hands.
And no, it goes on.
It goes on?
Yeah. It takes longer than you think.
That's the only problem that I had with 500 Rummy was you end up playing you're like, oh man, this is like the fucking 9th round of this game. Just fucking get 15 points, dude.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
yeah, I played it with my nieces and nephews, which I could talk about in my nerd week, but some of which I've never met.
Yeah, that's cool.
And, yeah, so it was cool.
Yeah, so like that's the part of like a lot of these games. Like I went to school for casino management, and a lot of it was game theory, right? So like breaking down the numbers behind these games and like what it means, like what a house edge is, and like how that gets doctored up for people to like be interested in playing it. Like the 30-1 bets that really hit like once out of 900 hands, like it's probably a pretty bad bet if they're only paying you 30-1 on it. So like finding a game that I knew, and then this other element of like it doesn't like they give you 5,000 in chips, but like betting minimum bet the whole time and ending the game with 2,800 chips means nothing. Because I won the first round with 28,000.
Yeah.
Right. So like having to be aggressive, and the idea of like playing defense, another guy had a big chip stack. So every time I could see his bet before I made my decision, I went with like 80% of that bet in the opposite direction, so that the swings would be bigger. Right. When he got it wrong, he'd go down, I'd go up
More.
Right.
Right. So it's like if I played with him, then our stack would go up the same level. So it's just like a lot of game theory behind it, which I found really interesting.
Yeah. I've never played Baccarat.
Yeah. So I mean, the game of
Baccarat.
Yeah. But like playing at the casino is kind of like if you're not betting a lot of money, it's not fun. Right? Because you literally say like player or banker, and they both pay whatever they pay, and you to make no other decisions after that. So it's kind of like you're just
Right.
heads or tails, like whatever. But like playing against other players, trying to get into the next round, like that made it super interesting and a lot more game theory that I hadn't even really thought of. So it was cool. Like I'm trying to do the math of like how I'd play against the casino, and I'm like, oh, I don't give a shit. Like if I win this hand, I want to make sure that I have more chips than them.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Nice.
So hung out with the dog a lot. Then Sunday night after the tournament, something crazy happened in the world. I think.
We attacked someone? Is that?
Yeah, we might have just dropped a bunch of bombs on people.
I mean, you just spend so many millions building them. You got to use them sometime, right?
Yeah, just
I've been getting into a lot of like text. I wouldn't say debates, but exchanges about all of this stuff. And it has reminded me, although none of them have gotten nasty, they've all been relatively good conversation. But it has subsequently also reminded me that it's best to have those conversations in person or on the phone.
Or not have those conversations at all, I feel like.
now
Sometimes it's fun for me. Like sometimes I exchange
get
like
mad.
a little sharpening of tools and make me question some things. Like that makes me feel good. Like it won't in the moment, but that night I'll still chew on people's ideas, so to speak.
Sometimes it just
I feel like that could be interpreted to semen, which is why I threw the.
for me, it's like
Is that like a preemptive, so to speak?
Yeah, because it's like the whole brains, give me some brains element and ideas and whatever, chew on ideas. And
Like
I was
a
like, you know
quadruple
what?
entendre.
Better play it safe.
I don't want to have a reason that doesn't mean anything to dislike someone or like them less. Which is what it comes down to a lot of times when you have political conversations, right? Because it doesn't change anything.
I think for some people, I think for me, it doesn't.
No, I'm saying that's for me. That's why I don't do it, because like I can be completely cool with the person. Everything we ever talked about, we chat or we hang out. I have no idea what some of what he thinks in the back of his mind is, and he spits that shit out, and I'm like, I think I like you less now, and for no reason, because it doesn't impact anything, right? He has no decision making skills in the greater wars of politics.
Sure.
Like just the fact that someone thinks a certain way, like, makes me sometimes like him less.
Yeah, see, for me, but with that stuff specifically,
that's a me problem.
Because I think that everybody has, unless they're just a maniac, they have the best intentions, right? They think that their ideas are serving the greater good, right? So, like, I may think that a person is fundamentally wrong about everything, right, and regarding this one topic, but I know that their intentions are still good. The way that they see the world is just very, very different from the way that I see it. And I know enough about the people that I'm speaking with specifically, personally, where I also know that they're good people. I think it gets really tricky when they're like internet people or shit like that.
Yeah,
where it's
I
like,
never talk to them.
Yeah. Well, I talk to them, but I don't talk to them about anything serious.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so I think the other thing though is like as a society we've started to like you are your beliefs and I like lowercase b beliefs, right? Because and I'm not trying to say anything about like fake news or propaganda or anything like that, but there's a lot of people that have these ideas, these things that they say they believe in, but then when you start to ask them questions about it, like they don't understand any of the history behind it. Like it just breaks down immediately. So I think like it is kind of important to, especially like your I wouldn't say like your inner circle. Hopefully, you know a little bit more about them. But
This is it right here. This circle.
well, and we talk about this,
Right, and we're okay to talk about it.
Right.
But none of you have anything said anything
I'm not
to
saying
me
like
that's
you're-
just like fucking crazy.
I'm not saying
No.
your coworkers that you have to deal with,
Yeah.
half a shift or a full shift, a couple times a week, but like some other, I don't know, like orbiting friends, like when they say certain things, like I think it's important to talk about it if you understand what the conversation is, because like some people are like, well, what do you mean? Iran has been, like, okay, some of that's true. Let's break it down historically, like, but we also fucked with them pretty hard in the fucking 60s and the
Everybody.
Yeah, and they've also, and I don't want to have this conversation here, but I mean, like, Iran has also had a history of fucking with us and being like, they ain't going to do shit.
yeah, 100%.
Like,
and I'm not saying it's just, to me, it's like when somebody tells me things like, we didn't start a war with Iran, we just attacked them, and I go,
Punch him in the face, man. I didn't start a fight with you. I just punched him in the face.
right.
and I'm like, hold on, like semantics be damned, but like, can you really say that?
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure. So we watched a movie last night.
I did too. I watched a full-length feature film
Without sleeping.
start to end,
We-
without sleeping.
I watched two.
Okay, you.
Oh, dude, flex on
Yeah, I
shit.
know. One upper.
So one
Aren't you something?
one is new, which I have in my notes, and the other is a movie that I made Melina watch because I just think it's got some really fucking badass scenes, and this kind of plays into it. So Sicario
Okay.
with
I've seen it.
Benicio del Toro and Brolin. So at the very end, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, at the very end, he shows up at the drug lord's house, and the guy's eating dinner with his family, and he shoots all the guards, and he goes in there and he sits down, and the drug kingpin is like, he's like, so he killed his wife and daughter, right? The Benicio del Toro, his character. So the
Not
drug,
really Benicio del Toro.
yeah, not like how they actually killed.
Ian.
It's not how they actually killed what's his name from Last of Us, right?
Right.
Pascal's still alive, bro. He's the Fantastic Four.
So the drug kingpin says like, "Hey, it wasn't personal. right? And then Del Toro's character is like, for me, it is.
Yeah, that's
Right. So it's like realizing that perspective of like your intentions don't matter. Like, hey man, like firing you right now, like it's just a numbers thing, and you're like, it's not personal. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't have a paycheck.
Right,
Like,
right,
it's pretty fucking personal to me.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know. So
Well, you can't tell people how to feel.
right.
yep.
Like I learned that more and more. Like you can't tell people how to feel. You can't tell people.
You can tell them to calm down.
yeah, only women.
And you should. You should tell them often. And
They love it.
without it, I don't. It's kind of like those bumpers on when you're playing like duck pin bowling.
Dude, it was so funny.
Just keeps them in the lane, you know.
So for once in my life at my house, I had like an evening and dinner with more men in the house than women, or at least equal footing.
You had guys' night.
Well, because I had my a lot of my nephews here, and then my sister's husband, and a conversation came up when they were like, well, you know, like men really struggle with commitment. They really like, it was like a conversation that these girls were having. And I was like, I thought they made some valid points in what they were saying. And then when they were done, I was like, I dig that. I was like, may I retort?
Allow me to retort.
Can I share one of the cards that I'm holding? I'd like to talk about a word called accountability. All the dudes are like, it was just good fun.
Like 3 wine glasses hit the floor at the same time.
And then they said it weren't their fault.
But you said it.
But yeah, you can't tell people how to feel about about something that happens to them. You can't tell people how to grieve,
Right.
and you can't tell people how they should deal with the shit they have to deal with. That could be
I thought you
Family-
just tell them to pull themselves together and stop crying.
pull yourself up. So
By
like
your bootstraps.
So, that could be childhood stuff, could be whatever they deal with in their profession, whatever that case may be. You can't tell people how to deal with it.
Right.
Like, people just deal with it how they deal with it.
Well, and I used to,
You can make suggestions.
you know, I used to fall into that same trap of like, you know, you would look at, you know, somebody say they're rich or they're like family money kind of rich, and you're like, this
Yeah.
is like the worst day of my life, and you're like, well, how bad is it? Like, and you're like,
How bad is it? This is the worst day of my life. How bad is it?
like why are they complaining about such like a small thing? Like there's people starving, and you know,
I try to do it to myself often,
but
when I feel
then
bad.
I kind of realized, I'm like, look, somebody's worst day, it's just their worst day.
Yeah, that's their worst day.
Like it's not their fault, and it's kind of I guess it's a privilege that something that low on the scale is their worst. But if they've never experienced lower, like they're going to have the human emotion.
That's their
that is
bar.
Low.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the pain scale, though, man. Don't tell me it's a 10.
Yeah.
Well, shit. That's
Yeah, if you've never scraped your knees in your life and you scrape your knees, it's still not a 10.
But it's the same thing as like the first time. Like if you could go back and remember all of your thoughts back to when you were a child, you're like baby.
Yes.
The first time you ever felt pain.
Yeah.
No matter how small,
Was the worst pain you ever felt in your life.
It's an overwhelming sensation.
I think the
to
pain
you.
scale thing is different because people are lying, right? They're not being honest with themselves oftentimes, right? But I think that like somebody's bad day is their worst day, right? Like somebody's worst day is their worst day.
Yes,
We've all
that's
had
true.
our
I mean,
worst day.
right, and it may
Their
not be
worst-
as bad as
it's just-
mine, or
yeah,
mine may be
right,
worse
right.
than, or theirs might be worse than mine. But
Yeah, it's like your worst day is not that bad kind of thing to me sometimes.
Right.
It's like we're talking about kids. Of course, kids have no perspective, but as an adult past the mid-20s, when your brain is closed up, like you should have some kind of
But
attachment.
that's what we're talking about is perspective.
right.
But
Right, so-
a
so when-
worldview, like just like when I was talking about the pain scale, when I was having my appendix, that was the worst pain I've ever had. When they asked me what it is, I said 7. They said, "What do you mean 7?" It's like, well, 10 is being your fingernails pulled out, so I'm probably having a 7.
But have you had your fingernails?
No,
pulled out?
I'm assuming it's worse.
Right.
But or like in your eyelids, whatever it is, it's not a 10. 10 is the worst thing ever before you die. So like in my
Not if you die peacefully.
That's true.
in your sleep.
I tried
Because
to.
then the worst thing could just be a bad TV show.
That's Last of Us. Fucking worst
I
day of my life.
I try to put things in like the grander scheme perspective when I try to compare things or think about things.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but like it's still
People would be better if they did.
maybe, but like
That's a consideration thing, right?
But I think that like so my kids are constantly like they'll have a bad day, right? And then they'll be like they'll self-actualize and be like, but I know it's not that bad and I know I have these things. And I'm like, that's good, that's perspective, but you're okay to feel how you feel right now.
Right.
Cuz your bad day is your bad day. You know, and you don't have to compare it to anyone else's or contrast it to anyone else's. Deal with what you're dealing with. Use that perspective that you do have to realize that tomorrow perhaps will be better, you know, to keep pushing forward.
And I think it's important to like to do something like that, to like categorize like this is the worst day I've ever had. And then what you should do is you should take that memory and file it away and then use subsequent things to say, is this not as bad?
Yep.
Or is this worse?
That's what journaling is for, I think.
Yeah, but like if it's not as bad, well, guess what happened after the last time I had the what I thought was the worst day of my life? The next day was better, and the next day was okay, and like whatever. But it helps you put perspective so that you can deal with things as they come.
Right.
Yep.
Right, and that was my.
I'm with you. I agree.
So the other movie I watched was and I just Barbarians.
Never seen it.
With Justin Long?
With Justin
the
Long?
horror movie?
The
I
horror
love that
mo-
movie. It's great.
It was such a Bobby. This one,
Never seen it.
this one might be
Who is in it?
Justin
Justin
Long.
I don't even know that.
He was-
I shouldn't have asked.
That was my thought immediately when you asked, like,
shouldn't have
why is he asking?
Do you remember the movie Waiting?
I love that movie.
I
It's
feel,
also hilarious.
I feel like I could have taken a number of different joke directions there, but no, I do not remember the movie Waiting.
Waiting's great.
Yeah, Waiting.
Waiting sucks.
The Waiting movie is great.
Waiting the movie.
The Batwings, bro.
yeah. The whole like
The ball
goat
games.
And
I
the-
do remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's from
that's
the movie
okay,
okay.
Waiting.
Yeah.
So Justin Long was one of the main characters in that, but so he plays in this like a stupid horror movie, right?
But it's great.
But it was, and like we were doing like the whole like commentary back and forth. Nobody's actually trying to like watch it for the suspenseful
Right.
horror. And it was a lot of fun watching that. So,
All right. Cool.
and the only other thing, I can't remember it. So
Hey,
If you interrupt.
we'll move on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interrupting is what we do here.
Joseph.
I know I watched stuff. Whatever. Department Q is on Netflix. It's a British series. I would say murder mystery type show, but it's not murder mystery. You might like it, Bobby. The characters in it is super interesting. Like at first, I didn't like any of the characters, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep with it. And see where it goes with. But there's a lot of character development and character arcs, and they are interesting. So I did enjoy it. It's about this guy who, the opening scene is he's a detective. They call it something else over there. Whatever it is, him and his partner,
A looker, a figure outer.
an inspector. No, it's Inspector something. I don't know. It's a British 3-letter word. A 3-letter acronym.
I think they call him a dick.
Just a side thing. Remembering what the acronym of something is, but not remembering what it stands for is the worst. Because like you're so good, and like we make the system. It's like a stroke, be fast, right? Does that people actually remember what BEFAST stands for? This came up the other day. It's like when you
in a stroke. I think you're saying stroke.
when you
switch it up.
Yeah, it's like if I go too fast, like I just don't.
when
feel
you
much.
remember what the acronym, but don't remember what the meaning of the acronym is, it ends up being meaningless.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, this show is about a guy and his partner. They get shot while investigating a crime. They both survive. One of them is paralyzed. He has survived.
Was that his worst day?
I think it is.
Okay.
His life is like not the best, but like that was probably his worst day.
Yeah, probably.
And then he came
Rough
back to work, and then it's apparently he's already an asshole and nobody likes him, but he's good at his job. And then they stuck him in a new department for cold cases, and then he surrounds himself with
Those are the cases without legs.
cold cases.
Yeah, like they've run out of information. So
Yes.
they're not going anywhere
Also without legs. Yeah, the old
because he's
cases.
paralyzed.
Well, his partner's paralyzed.
Oh, damn it.
His partner's paralyzed, and he feels really bad about it. It deals with a lot of mental traumas of like PTSD, and him's like, I don't need no therapist, and he's obviously having anxiety attack. I'm like, yeah, men will do anything other than go to therapy. That's what we do.
Unless she's hot. Got a hot therapist. I'll go there.
That,
She
I
should
feel
try
like that would detract from your therapy.
She tries to fix me.
Just like my penis, my ball sack doctor. It's like distracting when they're good looking.
Like I feel like I'm more open and ready to share.
As you start unzipping your pants.
Post coitus, I'm.
I didn't say share what.
But yeah, they pick up a cold case and ends up the person is still alive. They're actually trying to solve a murder, but like they're trying to you see as a God's eye view as a viewer that there's a parallel story going on where this person is still alive.
The
person they're looking for,
victim.
the cold case, yeah, it's a 4-year-old case. The victim is actually still alive, and then
there's no crime was committed.
yeah, I don't know about that, but it all converges at the end. It's very interesting. If you like dramas, the serious dramas, and
What was it called
crime,
again?
Department Q.
Okay.
Yeah, and like mystery, crime stuff. That's actually really good.
Nice.
I watched What If season 3. You didn't watch any of them, did you? You watched like season 1 and you were done with it.
Of which one?
What If the Marvel
I
animated?
did. I did watch the first season.
Okay, so
And I thought it was fine.
it was fine. I enjoyed it. I thought it was more than fine. I thought it was pretty good. Season 2 is the same. They're all individual stories that ties together and then ends up tying to season 1 too. So the whole universe.
I remember that.
is
I
all the
remember
same.
that being the discussion point.
And then season 3 is more of the same in that respect, that there are a bunch of individual stories that ties together and that ties the whole entire series together. So there's all one multiverse. But I didn't like it at all. Like there were cool scenes, action, animation, of course.
Right.
But I don't want to go back to watch it. But I don't to find out. But I don't remember it being so childish. This season seems like very childish, like children's cartoon, like for kids. The way they talk, the way they act, the dialogue, the premise themselves.
The way that you talk, the way that you walk, the way that you. Okay.
That was Kendrick.
Yeah. When he was dissing Drake.
Yes.
For all the Kendrick fans out there, or they should know.
All for the Drake fans out
the
there.
Drake fans. No, they should know too. Actually.
Yeah.
They especially know.
Yeah, they especially know.
Is Drake okay? Did anyone check on him lately? Is he
He's
crying?
he's gesturing as if he is okay.
He's gesturing as if he's okay, but it doesn't seem like is something he'll recover from.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one. He's got a lot to recover from. Like
I'm not sure. Is he ever going to recover?
So I think it depends on the slaps.
It doesn't seem like.
I think it depends on the slaps. Like if because here's the thing, this is just the cold hard truth. The overwhelming majority of customers that buy records are 16 to 24-year-old white women, and they don't give a fuck about the Drake and Kendrick beef. So if the records hit and they work, then
But is that all that matters at the end of the day? Is if you're selling records or does your public image matter?
So I guess it depends on what we're talking about.
I'm talking about recovery as in like all of it. I mean, like money wise.
All of it, never.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He'll
saying,
never
like,
recover all of it because it's like
It's like scarred.
yeah, it's a scar.
Yeah.
Like that's just and to be coal to me is the same way. Like like you now have a scar. Coal scar is very little. It's a very little scar, but it's a scar on an otherwise unblemished career, and I think the Drake scar is significant. It's like the other lion in Lion King.
I think that,
Who is actually the rightful heir?
Yeah, which is
I
some
think
bullshit.
that the true test will be to see how many features Drake gets on like top level other stuff.
Yeah, and I think that you'll still see some of that, because like a lot of those guys, they just want their record to work. So like you'll do the thing. It's just that like, how I've talked on here sometimes about like
Talk on here a lot.
I have. But I've talked specifically about like there are without going into detail because I honestly don't have any off the top of my head. They've just come up in conversation, but there are certain sexual things that I am open to, but I would never ask to do and probably wouldn't do because I would be concerned if Laura could ever see me the same way. Right? So
Now I want examples.
that act happened to Drake publicly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't going to be able to see him the same way because it was just such an exposure, of character.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, like it's a record myself and stuff, and people listen to stuff regardless. So, like people still listen to R. Kelly stuff, right?
It's like a faux pas.
It's kind of. It wasn't for the longest time though, until he was actually like
until he was convicted. Well, until he was arrested.
yeah, but like people knew
back in the day,
but was still okay with it. That's
because
weird
the
part of
kind
being
of
arrested.
cultural rules changed.
Yeah, but Chocolate Factory still slaps.
Oh my God, does it? Listen, but I'm consistent. Like
You've always been about the material.
I'm about the material. So like that's all that really matters to me at the end of the day. I have said that when it comes to R. Kelly, I get to speak from a position of privilege because I'm not a huge R. Kelly fan. I understand his impact and what he offered to music. I get it. I'm not an idiot, and I'm not ignorant to music. It just never spoke to me. Like I Believe I Can Fly. I understand that everybody did that at their high school graduation for decades. I get it. I know the impact of that record, but I don't like that song, and I would never put that song on. I also know that if I were to do a Bobby Boogie Bop on R. Kelly, that's the closer, right? Like I know enough about it. It's just not for me. The Step in the Name of Love, like that's the wedding record, right? Like lots of weddings have had that record play at their wedding. Like I get it. I'm just lucky that I really only like Ignition, Remix to Ignition, Snake, and Remix to Snake, partially because Cam is on the remix to Snake to bring it back. So like and all that stuff is off Chocolate Factory. You know, like I'm just lucky that way, where like I don't have to deal with it. Like I can I couldn't tell you the last time I listened to an R. Kelly record. Yeah. Before the controversy.
I can't tell you another record that I listened to in 03.
So like as you know, I work in Baltimore, and like we have all kinds of music on all the time, and I've never
getting a flex for that.
I mean, I'm only like staying like skimming, knowing what's culturally referenced, like relevant because of the places I work and the people I work with. So like I'm thankful for that actually. So I'm not completely fucking out of touch, but I've never like things like I Believe I Can Fly, R. Kelly song. A lot of things no one's ever says anything ever, right? But this past week, I don't remember the name of the song. I know the song when I hear it. It's a Pussycat Dolls song came on.
Buttons?
I don't know. I don't think it was
like a huge
I know
record.
it's huge. But like one of my coworkers like, I can't listen to this the same anymore. Because
what happened with Pussycat Dolls?
No, it's Pussycat. Maybe I'm saying no, not Pussycat Dolls. The fucking girl that Diddy was beating her ass,
Cassie.
Bum, 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 bum. So
It was that
her
song that was playing. It was Me and You.
Okay.
Because that's the only song that ever gets played by
Okay,
Cassie.
so one of the song, her song came on, and then the coworker has to change it because I just can't hear this shit. And we've heard that song tons of times in the past years I've worked there.
yeah, that song's great.
Right, but like I've never seen it in action, especially in that
Oh,
culture
right,
in
right.
Baltimore, where someone was affected enough to be like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I've seen video
That's
footage
pretty
of like
wild.
songs like R. Kelly song coming on at like a party and people saying like, stop dancing, boo, and all that shit. Like I've seen it, like, and I get it. It's not how I do business, but I get it.
Yeah,
But that song wasn't remixed to Ignition.
No, it was not. It was Step in the Name of Love.
Yeah, well, say, hey,
Yeah.
you could play that one.
Yeah,
I
I don't think either way is wrong. Being okay with the music or booing it, but like it's sometimes I don't know. Maybe to me, just because of the way I am, it's a little heartening sometimes when people like are like, I don't want to support this. Like when it turns something in the brain is like this feels off and I can't do it. And I'm like, oh, that's nice that you have
so
something
that they're aware of
of
everything else.
That nothing matters as long as
Right.
I was watching What If.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know if another me thing. I'm a fucking weirdo, but I really, really can't stand the last episode. So I'm not a big fan of gangster movies or where the bad guy.
except for Casino.
Casino, the best, my favorite.
Yeah,
I love it.
I did rewatch Casino.
It's great.
How was it? Great.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. But that part always kills me.
Yeah, that
Like that right there is where that's the final foundational part where it's all fucked.
yeah,
Like when he crosses that line
with the girl.
the girl.
Yep.
Like that's when you're like,
Yep.
over.
It's over.
over.
Nothing's sacred.
But so I'm not a big fan.
You put your feet up on my friend's table, you shit kicking motherfucker, you.
Your face. It's from the gut.
So good.
Talk about a great death, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Where they beat the fuck out of him, bury him.
Brutal.
Oh yeah.
Brutal.
And watch his brother die.
Yep.
Oh, he's still breathing.
Yeah. Brutal.
Live by the sword kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't not usually a fan of villains being the protagonists of a movie. But I know it's popular. But what I really found out I don't like and really puts me off is when they try to tell me the villains are good guys. So to me, the good guys, which is like Captain Marvel and not Captain Marvel, the girl Captain America and Uatu, the Watcher. Uatu is a guy who's watching and not supposed to interfere, right? I'm going to spoil it because you're not going to watch this.
Yeah.
So he always fucking interferes, right? And so the other Watchers were like, "You're fucking up. Stop doing that shit." And they were going to punish him. He fucking actually assembled a whole ass team of people from the multiverse to go interfere with the multiverse. And then they all got together and was fighting back against the Watchers who were like, we're supposed to be neutral and watching. We're not supposed to be doing any of this shit.
Right.
And then the show makes it so that you're supposed to see the good guys as the meddlers and the actual Watchers be the villains who's trying to uphold their fifth dimensional neutrality.
Right.
And I'm like, you guys are fucking bad. And then the Watcher, you find out he only gets power because he made the oath to be a neutral Watcher, right? And then he gave his powers to Storm. Thor is cool to see. They actually have Storm in the Marvel property, and as Thor is pretty fucking cool. But like he gave all the other superheroes Watcher powers by making them give the oath, which he breaks and is breaking. And I'm like, you are really fucked up here. So like the whole time they were fighting, I'm like, this is not a good example to have for people.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it's a me thing because I don't think Krista thought anything of it, and I don't think the general audience would think anything wrong with that. And it's just like the whole was it Obi-Wan and Anakin saying they want to have a ceasefire and talk, and then actually have someone go behind enemy lines to blow their shit up. That's war crime. That's what villains do. That's not okay.
Who did that? Obi-Wan
I think
did that?
Obi-Wan and Anakin, I don't remember. It was Clone Wars.
It's Clone Wars.
Well, they were losing, and then they were like they waved the white flag and says let's negotiate.
Right.
While they're using that as a tactic to
Distract.
That's not okay. And like in the real world, that's really bad.
Yeah. Well, nothing that. I mean, there's a lot of arguments about it, and very little that the Jedi did is for the
correct. But that was like so blatant to me, where like I'm not sure
that whole kidnapping kids thing was a big deal.
That too. They did.
What's wrong with that?
To me, you make them better, right?
Yeah. You're helping them out.
But
See their full potential.
In the episode, it wasn't like a lesson of what not to do. It was like, oh, these are what you guys do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's a really terrible lesson.
Yeah, and part of it is like the whole like the means justify the end,
Yeah, it's not.
or the end justifies the
The
means.
means.
Yeah, I said it backwards.
Yeah. So I really fucking disappointed and dislike this What If season. Did you watch? You just haven't watched Clone Wars yet, right?
I tried to watch the next episode of.
I say just stop. I think you gave
struggling so
Star
hard.
Wars a fair shot.
No, I'm gonna continue trying.
don't have to.
I just have.
No
to.
one's holding you to
I don't think you should.
I just have to be in the right.
I think you've learned your limits. I do. I honestly do,
I'll
and I think
push
that's
through 'em.
okay.
I'll push through them, but I just have to be in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Right. Like I can't be thinking
Vaguely
about
remotely interested in anything else.
Yeah.
You need an Adderall? You need to take this pop of Adderall and watch Clone Wars?
So Adderall does different things to me.
Okay.
The Adderall for me would be the worst thing because I'd be like, "Fuck, sitting here. Let's go do shit."
Yeah.
I finished Andor.
And
I immediately had to watch Rogue One. Maybe Chris and both say, I won't put on Rogue One now.
okay.
The last half was great to me. I think it was 12 episodes or something. First 4 episodes was bad. Like they could have either condensed it or completely rewritten it. 5 and 6 started to get more interesting. That's with the Spider Planet and stuff. And then the whole last 6 episodes, I was riveted. I was like,
Okay, good.
all in on what's happening. and like it's just confused.
Did you like the bench scene? That was in there too, right? That was at the end.
No, it was in the middle too. There was some bench scene in the beginning. Also, there's a couple staircase scenes that they're throughout, and there's a couple hallways. They walk through a lot of.
There's a lot of hallways, a lot of big rooms, a lot of big rooms.
Yeah.
No, it made me understand or know more about the character Endor, and makes the Rogue One movie better for me because I know who he is and you know exactly where he came from. He literally went from the last episode directly into Rogue One in this like the next episode.
Yeah. See, I even would have liked it to be even that segment because they kept saying that, right? This is going to leave you. I think the quote was at the front doorstep of Rogue One.
It literally did.
See, I think it left you in the parking lot.
Did it?
I think so.
Because he was like, "I'm going to go there now," and then
I want to go there.
No, but like at Rogue One, he's
you see him do the. I want to see him like right up. I want to see him like track.
Find a guy.
Yeah, my goal, my hope was is he was going to be like, there he is, and then cut to Rogue One. You know, like I was hoping it was going to be because like that's how Rogue One to Episode 4 feels to me.
Oh yeah, it was like
you know,
you're on a ship.
Yeah, and then it's hope, and then boom, like it takes off. A Star Destroyer is going to take off after it, and then we're at the front of.
It's It's there. Yeah, it was literally the next scene versus any kind of time skip. Yeah. But I quite enjoyed season 2.
Good. Hey, I love that. For you.
It's weird to me though, like that how bad the first few episodes were. Like that they're the same people that makes this show. I don't understand how that works. It's the same writers, right?
It just feels like that whole series, that second season, feels like. Well, I've said butter over too much bread to quote Lord of the Rings, but it's just it's almost like silly putty,
and they just Hobbit house,
and then they just pull it until it just droops to oblivion. You know,
I think it would have been very different if they either the condensed the first 4 episodes or just like rewrite them somehow. But some of the stuff in there is necessary for the build up for the spider planet.
I'm afraid it isn't necessary.
But Rogue One is so fucking good.
Rogue One? Oh, it's amazing.
Rogue One
it's great.
That was like
it's great.
In Rogue One. How okay, I didn't understand how
Bodega knows the way.
Bodega?
Black hole.
Bodega. Come to kill me.
So whenever we're in New York and we go as soon as we like they're always thirsty or some shit and they're like, when are we gonna get something to drink? I'm like, Bodega knows the way.
So I don't understand how like the people that made first 4 episodes, the same people who made the last 4 episodes of Endor.
Yes.
What I really don't know is how the people who made Rogue One made episode 9.
Well, they weren't.
But it is. I mean,
it's the same company. It's different people.
But it is the same people.
Yeah, but it's different. It's a different creative group.
Kind of, but you're still under the
different writers, different directors, different cinematographers. It's a different creative group. You know,
you're still under the direction of something, right? Unless there was no direction.
So I don't think there was a lot of direction. So everybody's kind of stance, like criticism wise, with Kathy Kennedy, is that she was like leading the whole show into destruction, right? And my criticism, which I've been consistent about, is that I don't think she's involved enough, and as a result, it lacks direction. You know, she let.
Well, the part of lacking direction is changing director between 3 movies. Also, right?
Changing director between
7 and 8 and 8 and 9.
So she changed the director from 9 before 9 got started.
Yeah.
I mean, before it started shooting.
Yeah.
But that was because that everything after 8 to me is a different conversation because after 8 is when they started allowing the fans to dictate what they were doing.
Right. But 7 and 8 there was difference between 7 and 8 too.
Yes.
There was a switch off.
That was intentional. That was always the case, and both of them, JJ and Ryan Reynolds. What's his fucking name?
Johnson?
Ryan Johnson have both said like, no, we had complete creative control. Like they stayed the fuck out of the way. Like,
and then
9 is when things started to change because of the backlash from 8. So
this is what you get.
So Solo is where it started, right? Because they took the director because it was like the Lego people that were making Solo.
Lego movies are great.
And you know what? To this day, we've never heard. Like we've heard what the original 9 was going to be.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have fixed it for me, but I wouldn't have hated it. I would still like Star Wars.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, because it's making Rey a Palpatine that ruined Star Wars for me. All the other shit I can get past.
I couldn't get past a lot of that stuff.
I can get past it. I like
You can get yeah.
I've already gotten past a lot of stuff with
That's
Star
true.
Wars.
That's
You know, so like, but that was a deal breaker for me because now it's a Palpatine story, and that's not what I signed up
Are you
for.
talking about Rey Skywalker?
No, no, I am not.
That's what she says.
I know. I was there. But like, you know, they took those guys off. The Rogue One thing they switched to, that was, I guess, the beginning of the switches. But I don't think she really. Maybe that gave her the taste for blood. I don't know. But she still, Rogue One was before Episode 8, but Episode 8 was probably well into production by that point. So maybe that's what started it. But then she changed the directors for Solo. She changed the directors for 9. Because that was supposed to be the dude who did Chronicle. He was supposed to do Episode 9. You remember that movie Chronicle, where it was like these kids.
Riddick. Yeah.
No, it was good. There was like these kids found like a asteroid or something, and it like gave them superpowers, and they ended up.
Familiar.
Oh, I do vaguely remember that one.
Yeah, it's good. I recommend it. But anyway, they took him off, put JJ back on because of the success of 7.
I mean, 7 was going to be successful because 7 was formulaic.
Yes, exactly.
So, like it didn't say anything about poor JJ. Not that he's a bad, but
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And then after that, I mean, it was. I don't think she's been a whole, like, because Favreau and Filoni and all of them have kind of taken the reins after that. So I don't think, like, I think she should have been more involved. If you can give me Star Wars on the level of E.T. and Jurassic Park and all the other Goonies and all the other shit she's been a part of, like, I would take that all day.
Well, I mean, that might be something about like directors having too much creative control over, like, so a
that's
single.
the writers, though, right? It ends up being the writers that write.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like
Because JJ and Ryan both wrote and directed.
There are 7 and 8, which were both. I like them both.
Yeah, but 8 was the one that caused the problems.
but something that spreads, 400 viewing hours of story. Like, you can't allow the directors to change
Too much.
too much, right? Or else the other parts of the story fall apart. You
Yeah,
can
well,
change
there's
the
continuity
tone.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
they didn't have enough continuity to tell you how Palpatine returned.
No,
somehow.
because by 9 the fans dictated.
somehow
Somehow.
they said.
There's like
That's how they said it. They told you.
there's like multiple different like conversations to be had about like who was at the reins, right? So between 7 and 8 and mostly Rogue One, I think the reins were given to the creators. By the time of 9, Solo was like the stepping stone, and by the time of 9, it was under the thumb of Lucasfilm. You know.
What else?
I wonder what Chris Gaines would have done with Episode 9.
We can only dream.
Look into his eyes.
We can only
Tell
dream.
me what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch just staring at me.
Chris and I each put 50K into the house, so that's 100K, another 100K down. So we're on track for end of the year payoff.
That's awesome.
Cause we've been holding on to money because I throw money into the principals. I'll also save money, and she saves money. And I'm like, okay, we have a fuck ton of money. It's not really collecting interest. Might as well just throw it into the house to have less home interest, less payment, and then we just end up doing that because I still have some money left in the bank in case of emergencies. I'm like, after all the shit that went on with me with the surgeries and stuff, it all ended up to be less than $1,000 for everything. And I'm like, oh, what worse couldn't happen to me that I would need more than $1,000 in the bank?
Right.
Is this wood? Is this fucking shit?
What happens if they release a new line of Magic cards?
Oh, that's a kind of. I already spent that money. I would have had more money if I did.
No, what if they come out with another line?
They don't have any more Final Fantasy ones lined up. They have a lot of lines coming out that people are clamoring for, but I just care about the Final Fantasy one. I'm still trying to buy more. It's bad.
So maybe it's better to put the money in the house.
Exactly.
You can't spend it on cardboard.
Well, the thing about me is that I have 2 accounts, much like Bobby, but different than Bobby. I have a checking account and a savings account. Savings account for emergencies, for the house, etc. And once I have a certain amount in my checking account to where I'm like, oh, I'm good till next paycheck, I put everything extra into my savings. And when something is my savings, it doesn't exist to me. I don't. It's not even in consideration of spending unless it's an emergency like house floods or appendix or some shit like that. So that account only grows.
Are you planning on having your appendix removed?
I just did. I wasn't planning for it. It was for emergencies.
Oh. You're like, I like how you're like emergencies, like appendix.
I think just a recent reference.
Yeah, a recent reference. But in case anything does happen, so like once something is my savings, it doesn't exist to me. So it just keeps growing. So now that it's grown to, it was like way over 50K. Then I was like, all right, let's each put 50K into the house.
Nice.
And that's been my goal for long. Just since you've known me, I'm like, I want to be done with my house by 45, and I'm like a year ahead.
It's awesome.
Okay, this is another weird only me thing. So, you know, the term, you are familiar with the term waifu, right? Like in the weeb community.
The what?
White food, like crackers and cheese,
I think I may need
charcuterie boards.
Waifu is a term someone calls a fictional, usually a female character. Mm-hmm. That's like their wife. Waifu is how you say wife in Japanese because they don't have words without consonants. They
Real quick derailment. Learn something about Japan this past week.
Nice. Teach me.
So all of this stuff going on in the world, they've been talking about. A lot of my feed has been dominated by like nuclear talk, and there was one that said about what countries had the most nuclear weapons and what's the ratio of it, et cetera, which was kind of interesting to see. Like some have very few, and then like I didn't know that some have. I didn't know that some of the people that have nuclear power are so few in their nuclear power, and then some, it gets bigger and bigger, and then some are like huge leaps, et cetera, et cetera.
You could say us.
Japan was the lowest.
Us.
Japan was the lowest. They were the only one in -2.
Oh my god. Is that okay? Is that too soon?
I mean, it's been a while.
It's been a while, bro.
Just
sorry.
So you had to work that into the title somehow.
Maybe I just call it -2. Anyway, continue.
But I mean, I feel like there's no real reason to have nuclear bombs. I mean, in the modern day,
deterrence.
Oh no.
It's not about deterrent.
Deterrence.
That was just a joke.
No. I was just thinking like, but people who have them already, you already have them. It's fine. It's like if you don't have them, it's like. Because we're pretty sure that if anyone ever uses one, that's it for everybody, right?
Nah, I mean, I don't know. One of my favorite policies is mutually assured destruction.
Yeah.
Right. And I say that kind of like facetiously also at the same time. I think they're going to get to the point where they can create a bomb that has less environmental and long-term they can make it small enough that it'll become useful that they'll
like in Starship Trooper, the mini nuke bazookas.
Yeah.
They have the word Moab already.
But it's just the mother of all bombs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's just I don't know. That's just something for nukes. If someone launches a nuke, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think you need a nuke of your own. If someone launches a nuke, whether
like
you have one or
ICBM,
like whether you
city
have one or
destroyer.
not doesn't really fucking matter. I feel by the time someone launches one, like maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. But I feel like if it ever gets to the point in the world where someone has to launch or does launch a nuke,
if you're talking,
it doesn't matter whether you have one or not.
Like if us and Russia get into a nuclear war, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
at
it
all.
doesn't matter.
Like
But I mean, like any
Joey, I want to know more about waifu.
Okay, so I noticed something weird. This is a character crush I've had on since I was 1997.
Since you were 1997.
Yeah, and she's very popular. She's a lot of people's wife. A lot of people crush
So
on
she's
her.
a little hoe.
She's not, but everyone wants her to be. She only has one man, and it's not
what
me.
franchise is he associated with?
Final Fantasy.
Oh, is it the black suspenders over the white?
Yes.
Yeah, she's a hottie.
Yeah, Tifa. Yeah. So like she's the one who.
What's her name?
Tifa.
Oh, I thought you were saying Latifah.
Yeah, she's the one that.
Who you calling a bitch?
She's the one who was on the Italian Senate leak. That thing. That's her.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but it's weird. I feel a way. Yes, when somebody says that's my wife, I'm like, no, that's not. That's not. And it's completely fucking stupid, right? First of all, she's a fictional character, and second of all, even if she was a real person, she has a boyfriend. I don't know why this base like jealous instinct is coming from. And
I feel the same way when people say True Romance is their favorite movie.
Oh, do you? Okay, so it's not. Okay, it's not just a me thing.
I never
you
speak
feel like
it.
protective of it.
I never speak it because I know it's an irrational,
Right.
ridiculous thought.
Okay.
But I will say to my head, like, no, it's not. Bet you don't even know XYZ about it. You know,
Right, right, okay. I'm so glad you can actually relate to this dumb irrational shit. Like
Who's your boyfriend?
Cloud. To me, is Cloud.
He's got a big sword.
He got huge.
Yes.
It's called a Buster sword.
And a motorcycle.
Yeah, and multiple motorcycles.
But yeah, I
and
actually,
like 2 other girls who's interested in him.
I actually,
But both of them are dead now.
I'm actually quite judgmental of people's preferences, and
Okay, let's explore this.
but I just keep it to myself.
like when someone said they love Batman, I judge a lot of times when someone says they love Batman was their favorite.
Yeah, so I mean, like even like so recently, I put up a post on my personal Facebook where I said like these are the top 10 bands of my lifetime, just during my life. My personal opinion, totally subjective, et cetera, et cetera. And I think there's arguments that my list is wrong in an objective sense, and I wouldn't deny that. But then I encourage people to put their list, and I shouldn't.
What Joe you was talking about earlier. Once you really learn what they believe, you kind of think less of them as a person.
But I have,
Kiss is the best rock band of all time.
I have learned in my older years. Oh, that's the tip of the iceberg, my friend. Because there's one.
What
I'm not
stands
going
out?
to
What's
mention,
that?
and I will not mention it. I will not mention it
Because even the song,
because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Okay.
But there is one band in particular, out of rock, in rock, whatever, that as soon as somebody says that they're a big fan of them, I write them off.
as human beings,
No,
as music beings,
correct. And I write their musical opinions completely off. From like, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't even matter if like the very next thing you say is that your top 5 rappers happen to be the exact same as my top 5 rappers.
The 6th one
It doesn't matter anymore.
I really wish I could guess it off of this.
You looking at the list now?
I'm not sure if it's. I'm sure it's on the list, but I'm not sure if it's anybody.
But you do have the I don't know if it's called gatekeeping thing though, where like someone says something is their favorite and is your favorite, and it's like, no, that's my favorite.
I'm going to text it to both of you.
Okay, I'm going to guess in my head.
Now I'm trying to find the person
Right.
that commented it.
Okay, and then here we go. I am sending it now. This stays in the circle of trust right here at this table.
I've said that this is my circle. This is all I have.
Yeah.
So this and Krista. She's orbiting moon around this.
All right, ready?
Yep.
I'm sending now.
This is great for the listeners there. This is on Patreon. No, it's not on Patreon.
So that's my one.
Agreed. Agreed.
Now,
I'm gonna delete the text.
now, let me say this: I'm good if you like them.
Yes, but
It's
not
when
if-
you say they're my favorite of all. Then okay, I know what that.
Well, favorite is subjective though. If you say they're the best, that's different.
I don't care. I don't care either way.
Oh, yeah. And that's all I got. This possessiveness. But just a final comment. I understand now why people get so mad when my childhood is ruined, or like that's not my Transformers or whatever. Like, okay, I get this possessive. I understand this feeling of possessiveness of something that's not yours and that's not real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My turn.
Yep.
Okay. Let me.
Hurry up, Bobby. We only got an hour.
Sorry.
This threw him off.
Yeah, no.
threw me off.
It was actually a side. It was actually a side note. So, all right. So here we go. I have actually a fair amount to say. So my buddy JR had a party at his house, an annual party for the buddy Bass that we lost, which was cool, and he hosted a pretty good time, and sat around, talked to some people, talked music for a while, reminisced, all that kind of good energy, good vibe stuff, and didn't get super fucked up, which was nice. Last time I fell off his sofa, so I was trying not to repeat that, which was good. Let's see what else. So I have cards. Played a lot of cards. We talked about it. Only thing I didn't talk about was we also played a lot of Texas Hold'em.
Okay.
I was the first one out.
It's a tough game.
I was the first one out because I was playing with my nieces and nephews, and they were all trained by my brother who is in prison, and he is somewhat of a card player. And they taught me that. So they smoked my boots. Let's see. So, all right, a couple things here. So the family visit. So, a lot of stuff going on in my family right now. I lost my stepfather, which is my sister's father. She came in to, as a side note, I already had a meeting with my niece lined up. It was logistically, it was just an odd period of time. And then on top of that, there was a family reunion going on in Pennsylvania from my sister's husband's family.
Okay.
So just a lot of moving pieces. All of that climaxed, so to speak, with my niece staying here for a week and my sister and her husband and her other kids staying here for about 24 hours before they went to Pennsylvania. And so a lot of kids in the house. But I did get to meet my 3 nephews, one of which I've never met before, and the other 2 I've only met a handful of times. And it was good. It was good. And
are they listeners?
No, I don't think so. I doubt it. But so one is Anthony. So Anthony and Katie are twins, and they got handed a bit of a tough hand. My sister got pregnant very young. Their father was not ready to be a father, nor was my sister ready to be a mother. But women have less of a say in whether or not they're ready or not than men do, and he definitely exercised his rights to say that he was not ready. So I think Anthony has had a number of behavioral issues throughout his life. That all these things are kind of consistent with the cards that he was dealt. And I saw, but I hear stuff. But, I didn't meet the person. And then having I've met him a handful of times, but really spending a day with him, I was like, fuck that. There's hope for you, kid. You're all right.
How old is Anthony?
15.
Okay.
So that's a rough age anyway to determine whether someone's a...
Right, but I think
he's got a good core in there somewhere that...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That can be worked with. Because sometimes you meet somebody, it's like, oh, you're fucked.
Yeah, 15's not too old to turn the ship.
Yeah.
But sometimes you meet somebody at any age and you're like, you don't have anything inside you.
Yes. And I think that Anthony does need, this is my personal opinion, I don't mean any disrespect to my sister, have his listener or whatever. I think he does need someone to really, he needs a mentor or an OG or somebody to a big bro,
brother.
Or somebody to really take him under their wing.
Maybe an unk.
Somebody to really take him under their wing. And I can't because he's in Florida. But I did get his phone number, and I did get my other nephew's phone number, so I can check in with them a little bit. Which
Ricky is in Florida.
Ricky's in Florida. Yeah, I don't know if they're in the same area or not. I think they're near Tampa.
Yeah, Florida's pretty big.
Yeah,
it's like China. It's all the same. Everyone in China knows each other. Right? Everyone in Florida is Florida, man.
Is that a weird way of saying everybody in China looks the same?
We do. Dude, have you never looked at a picture and thought, "Is that me?" and it's not you?
When you sent the picture of you wearing the Mickey Mouse stuff, I was like, is that really Joey?
Or any other Asian kid?
Did you just Google search?
So that's funny. So at any rate, that was cool. And then Dylan, who's the other one, who I'd only met once before when he was a baby. I love this kid. This kid's got it together. And I think he goes unnoticed. I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Older or younger?
I would say he's probably 10.
Okay.
So I called him Chillin' Dylan. That dude just wants to play on his games. He's observant. He watches. He came to my house and scoped out. They're all picky eaters. He came to my house and scoped out a big box, family pack of club crackers in my pantry. Went and had himself a seat, got on his game. Every once in a while, popped up, grabbed some crackers, sat back down, chilled the fuck out on the game. And then, he started laughing at a lot of what I had to say, which I'm going to get to next. Then I met Dexter. Now, Dexter is the youngest and the cutest kid on the fucking planet. And I've always heard just how awesome he is. Let me tell you something. My least favorite.
Fake news.
People have different gauges of what they like in a kid.
Look, and I mean that lovingly.
Yeah.
I mean it for the joke. He's my nephew. He's great. But he is a fucking terror. He is a goose on a loose and not silly. But I think it gets everything served up to him on a silver platter. And when
he's the baby.
And when it's not,
there's a tantrum.
He's going to let you know how disappointed in your ass he is. So, my family is very much like a ball-breaking family. So, like, I started going in, right? So, like,
on this 5-year-old.
Yeah. So my wife, God bless her. Well, no, not on him so much. It's a more educated. It's a more sophisticated approach to ball breaking, in my opinion. So, like, my wife, God bless her. On the first day they were there, like, took him to the park 3 times. Anytime he mentioned he was hungry, food was given to him. Thirsty, my wife's on it. My wife's all over this kid, so to speak, trying to get him happy, right? Nothing pleases him because all he wants is the attention, not the actual thing. So, anyway, at one point, he says he wants something. I forget what it was. Milk. He said he wanted milk, and he's laying down. So he's getting ready to go to sleep, and he wants a little bit of warm milk to go to bed with. My wife hopped in the car, went over to Food Line, and got his ass milk. Right. So now, to be fair, we needed a couple other things too. So there was there was a couple other moving pieces. But so then the next day, he starts throwing a tantrum about something else, and they're like, "Come on, Dexter, let's go do something." He's like, "I can't walk. I can't walk." He's like laying on my steps. I'm like, "Laura, get your ass in that car and go get this kid a wheelchair." And I'm making those sorts of jokes like the whole time, But I mean they were all worn out. They'd been driving all night. I'm sure there was a number of moving pieces. I get it, but first impression was not. I was like, you guys are fucking sleeping on Tony and fucking Dylan, Chillin' Dylan over here. Chillin' Dylan looks like a fucking champ right now.
So Chillin' Dylan liked the go get him a wheelchair.
Dude, he laughed at all the jokes. I was
he was listening.
Dude, when I started, like, you could just see him like start chuckling, and then like I would be like, "What?" I'd be like, "Look at," they'd be like, "Leave him alone." My sister's like, "Leave him alone." I'm like, "It's not his fault. It's your fault." And then Dylan's like, "He's right." Like,
so he's not like just checked out on his phone or whatever. He's listening.
He's listening.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
He's not oblivious.
So, but either way, it was cool to spend time with even Dexter. It was cool to spend time with all of them. My sister has a tattoo. She's a tattoo on her body for like all the people in her family, like a little thing, like I'm on there, and like something I wrote that she had put in. His is like a great white shark jumping out of the water. Couldn't be more appropriate. Couldn't be more appropriate.
Is the thing that you wrote something like, "At least I'll always have my hair"?
Let's see. Okay, so the other thing that I did is, I've been working on this picture project.
What year are you on now?
The album.
You were like 96 or something.
So I'm at 05.
Oh wow, okay. You 10 years. 10 years in a week,
and it's going to get faster because in the end of 05, Laura gets a digital camera.
Yeah,
so pictures start getting uploaded digitally, right? But like up until then, it's all scan. Anyway, it's been a fascinating journey because like you can see the changes in real time of everybody, myself included, and it's like, fuck, man, like, look at this. And I could take a deep dive on this when we had a little bit more time, perhaps on another day. But everything from my hair to my style, way of dress, weight, like just everything. Like it's interesting. And like while I'm doing this and I'm thinking about the other things that are in motion in my life, and I'm like, oh shit, like no wonder, man, like you were dealing with this and you were dealing with this, and like look what happened to you, and or in this set, like look at you still fucking smiling here, like so it's been great. So in this journey of accumulating these things, I have this box, so to speak. And
what's in the box?
I'm getting ready to tell you. So my aunt gave it to me when my grandmother passed in 07, and I just took it and put it on a shelf and never thought much about it. So I got it down and started looking through it. It is filled with fucking pictures, records, information, all this shit, and it has I still don't know quite how I feel about it. But like seeing pictures of like my grandfather, who I've never met, his father, seeing pictures of my father as a baby to me is incredibly weird for some reason.
Well, Bob?
Yeah. Well, I was a late walker, Bob. So like, anyway, all this stuff, like it has been an interesting journey, and I am very much in the throes of it. There's also been like clues and mystery and stuff like that, which I'm like, man, like there's like a letter that was written to my grandmother that's like, these people are going through some shit. I can't tell what it is, but they're going through something and they're reaching out to her because she really went through something. But it's not dated, and I'm trying to figure out who these people are and all this shit. There's a famous story that I'd only heard kind of back alley rumors and side talk of on that side of my family my whole life, and it involves an uncle of mine shooting the head off of his son. Found some information about that, was able to then apply that information to Google, found the fucking Washington Post article on it, like the whole bit. So like stuff like that's been fucking interesting. So anyway,
it was like it was the son did something to warrant it. I remember you saying something about that, right?
So yeah, he was
he was warned not to do something, and then the dad had to do it. Like
correct. He was.
Okay.
He
it's
had
not like your dad. Or the dad.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Just putting it out there.
Yes. I appreciate that. So he was had a drug problem.
Yes.
And he had gotten aggressive with his mother, my uncle's wife, and my uncle told him, like, you come back in here and you're going to catch a hot one. And he came back in there and he caught a hot one.
So I got a question about the photo stuff.
Yeah.
So, I know that for me, like I don't have a lot of photos, right? But I have significantly more post digital when it was easy to just take a photo and save it. Whereas the old photos, I feel like even if you went and bought a disposable camera and you take all 32 exposures or whatever, you would get them developed and then you'd be like, no, these 7 are garbage. So you just end up with less. Is that the same way? Like
I kept everything.
So as I'm scanning some of them, I'm scanning them all.
Okay.
You know, as I make the albums, I might discard some. So, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. When my first house was being built, we took a fuck ton of pictures of, you know,
The ground, the foundation,
all of
the
that
sticks.
shit.
Yeah.
You know, we maybe took 30 pictures on the day the ground was broke. Maybe 2 might go in the photo album.
Yeah.
But the picture is now preserved. And
right. But so I'm saying now as you kind of go through that, now you get to this digital age
where it's insane.
A ton of them.
Correct.
Right? Like now you actually have to, you have options on what you put in there. And like, do you want to have like a 900 page 2008?
Yeah. So I can tell you, so we've done 2 of them so far. We've done 2022 and 2023, and both of them have taken 2 books to do.
Oh, wow.
You know, but you're documenting more memories, like you're
it's
There's
also
stuff going on
pressure
with
too.
kids being born and stuff like that.
that shit,
That's like
weddings,
less changes now.
all that kind of stuff. But like I'm also like I'm putting stuff in there from the digital age of like screenshots of like text message exchanges that were of importance.
Oh, that's interesting.
And you know, any little thing like that.
Oh, yeah, I actually
you know,
save a lot
memes,
of my
some memes that are just culturally relevant for the time. I'm like putting them in there. Like
that's cool.
You know,
so it's not just
Bobby standing here smiling in front of this monument.
Also, this is why this happened because this happened.
Yep.
And it's also because I remember why this happened.
Correct.
But trying to go back to 2001, you're like, well, why the fuck were we in Florida?
Right.
Like
right. Yep.
So not to make it a sore subject, but just wondering how, if any different way you're going to handle things with Adam. Just. Are you not putting him in there, or
no? It's all going in there.
Okay, but not in any kind of way. Just like
no, because it's all just it's meant to be relatively objective
to its own
to my life. Yeah, like I spent this time with this dude. Like I just coming into 05, you know, he's in my wedding. I just found a bunch of pictures of his sister's wedding that I attended. I wasn't in it, but I attended, and like they're all going in there. Like, and they're all, you know what I mean? Like it's just.
Happened.
Yeah, there's pictures of my mother in there. You know, I don't think much of her these days, but
it's just arguably be more important.
But you know what I mean? Like, but she's still going in there just as an objective player in the mix. You know, and then when my kids are looking through it, they're like, "Man, this woman phased out around." You know, like well, because I didn't really see her. Or, you know, So it's anyway, it's been fucking fascinating, and I think I'm a sentimental person in general. So it like leans into like my kind of like, you know, psyche a bit anyway, and like just who I am, my character. But it's also like I'm so much of like a a pack rat and a documenter and a maintenance person of things. Like, that it's like, it's just a lot of, even like music and shit, right? Like I've kept it all. Like I have records that like nobody has, that because I had it on a white label, and before I let go of my record player, I preserved it digitally in some platform, you know? So anyway, the pictures thing has been long overdue for me to do, and I'm doing it. But my grandmother's box, so to speak, heavy on that. I just have a lot of questions regarding it, because some of it I have no point of reference for, and I have no idea what I'm looking at, and I can tell it's important, you know. So like I'm trying to like get in touch with my family. My family fucking sucks.
I mean, you have an expanded family. Also, like isn't some stuff lost to time? Like some of these people in this box, so to speak, is probably not around anymore for you to ask even. Yeah,
but like my aunt should theoretically know who a lot of these people are. My dad's sister, like I sent her a voicemail a couple days ago. I haven't heard back from her.
You didn't ask your dad?
I'm sorry?
What about your dad?
So I haven't even talked to my dad about it yet. My dad is very much like, I can see my dad saying, well, I don't really think too much about yesterday, Bob. I'm living for today. You know, like he's just that type of...
Right. It doesn't hurt to ask, though, I feel like. It might be something he's willing to talk about.
And there might. I am going to ask. I'm going to be like, look, I can't remember if I have any questions, can I send it to you? But I mean, I don't even know if he'll be able to see it. You know, like I'm going to, even if I send the picture, like I don't know if he'll be able to make out, because it's all old.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, then it's scanned in. Like
picture of a picture.
There's a lot of loss of quality, you know, some more than others. I mean, even stuff like, you know, a lot of my friends, I've lost a lot of friends, you know, over the years, and like just to see some of them and preserve whatever memory is left before the digital era, where like everything is kept. You know, it's like, man, had I not kept this shit,
it'd be gone.
It'd be gone.
It's very different
because nobody else from my crew was keeping pictures.
Right.
It's like, I'm much like you. I have old photos, photo albums. I've never scanned them, and I thought about doing it, but I don't know, just haven't. But like I do look back at them sometime. But there's just maybe it's the time, maybe it's the 90s or whatever. But there's something about those pictures that don't hit the same as pictures now, and it's more like realness, more candidness to it, where it feels like it captures the moment more than pictures we take today, which seems much more curated and posed. And like fixed up, right? Those pictures back then from my clicky camera, it's like, oh, that's the moment, just right there.
Raw.
It's blurry.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah,
and
well, especially stuff from like, you know, like I got pictures from the 40s and 50s. You know, like that shit is all real as fuck.
Yeah,
you know, as you get into, it's almost interesting as you get into like, because there is blank spots in there, right? Where I'm like, man, like whatever was happening, pictures weren't a part of it, you know? You know? So like during like the mid to late 70s, both of my dad and my aunt would have moved out of my grandmother's house, so there's less pictures.
Yeah.
But around that era is when we started posing like dickheads. You know, it's when we were all like, all right, hold and smile. Cheese. Yeah, like, you know, like that's when that shit, I think, started, because there's not a whole lot of that prior to. You know, like my grandfather, I don't know, like Phil gives me shit about not smiling in photos. I don't know if I have a photo of him smiling. You know, like he just like, and if there is one, it's real. It's a real moment. It's not like some for the camera shit.
Right.
And it means more. It fucking means
it's
more.
not fake.
Yeah.
It's not manufactured.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll probably talk more about this as I continue doing it. It's a fucking, it's an ordeal. It's an undertaking, but there's a puzzle to it. Have I told you my concerns recently with a lot of people in a very limited amount of time calling me autistic?
Are you sure they're not saying art?
Yeah. So this has been happening more and more recently, and like it's just like one of those things. I'm just not ignorant enough to where like if I look outside and I'm sure the sky is blue, but everybody around me is saying it's purple, I'm going to at least take a minute and think for myself. Am I sure I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing?
Yeah.
And I've just been hearing a lot of that recently, and I have complicated thoughts on autism, and I'm going to leave it there for now.
It's a complicated subject.
It's such a weird thing. Like,
Is it complicated?
I'm going to come out on the stance that I think autism's complicated.
Yeah. I don't think... So it's a spectrum,
Yes.
as they say. It's not identifiable necessarily clearly, right? Like it's not like it's
Unless it's really obvious. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. So it's not, but it's not like a gene or a blemish on the brain that they can spot or anything like that. I am of, and I'm no doctor, right? I'm just a man making my way through the world.
Dr. Bob.
But I am of the thought. No, I shouldn't talk about this. I shouldn't. I am of the thought. This is meant to be an optimistic thing. I want to say this. This is not meant for anyone to listen to, think about the autistic people and their family and think that I am judging their situation. I'm not. I think there are people that have been diagnosed or considered to be on the spectrum and now carry that, right, as a label and think of it as something that is irreversible. And I don't know if I think that's the case.
Well, I mean, the definition of, I mean, I don't mean like the dictionary definition, but like when people say, "Oh, this person might be autistic," or they're on the spectrum, like the spectrum includes normies.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So like, it's kind of weird to be like, "Well, I'm on the autistic spectrum." Like, well, everybody is.
Yeah. It's a spectrum.
Spectrum.
We're all on it somewhere.
That makes no fucking sense to me.
Right.
And then, like, if you look back at geniuses in any category, whether it be music or art or math, right? They'd all be considered autistic.
Right.
They're very abnormal.
Right?
They're extraordinary.
Extraordinary. I think that's a better thing to say, is like extraordinary as opposed to
It doesn't have to be a bad thing.
right? Because like normal is kind of fucking boring too, right? Like that would be like the worst thing that somebody could call me. Is like,
Right, ordinary.
Hey, you know that guy Farrell? Like he's pretty normal.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck you.
Did you hear the nice things that were said about you on last week's episode? They were in a write-in and a question.
Oh yeah. I did. I commented on it with a little rock on.
It's like, look at you, a family man with your family man. But that's why that is a derogatory.
So like I don't want to say that. Where I'm going is like, I think autism is overdiagnosed, right? And that even if somebody did get the label of autistic, like that doesn't mean to me the same thing that it does for other people.
That's fair. I think that what I'm saying, like you and I both know someone that is diagnosed as severely autistic.
Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that person, I don't know, right? Because it's not identifiable. We're just using this to describe this. But let's say that that's the case, that they are severely autistic for the sake of argument. There's that person is going to remain that person for the rest of his life. There's no coming back from that.
No.
Yeah.
But I think
There's not
there
a supplement he can take than just
correct.
Yeah.
I think there are people that are on the spectrum in the sense that they have noticed odd behaviors, have taken their kid to a specialist or to a neurologist or to a doctor or a physician or whatever, and they have been told that their kid is on the spectrum. They've done the certain tests, like do you have a tic, eye contact, all of these things. And then I think that we consider that to be like almost a life sentence because of people that are severely autistic that we associate the life sentence with, right? Yeah. And I think that some of it is, I don't want to say fixable to mean that that person is broken, but I want to say that some of it that's more specifically the eye contact stuff, the tic stuff, the social stuff. I think I think there is hope for some people that can get ironed out.
It can be a high functioning version of whatever that is. Like you can learn to work with it.
Yeah, and perhaps even overcome it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just like anything else, like that's not like borderline personality. A lot of personality disorders are diagnosable, but not really in the sense that like you can't see something's wrong with the brain, but you know this person acts this way,
right?
And it's like, yeah, there's something wrong with this person,
right? So we're calling it this thing.
Yeah,
we're all agreeing that these symptoms are now going to describe this thing.
Yeah,
right. But it's not a black and white thing, right? It's not like a tumor. You're like, nope, that's what that is. That's a fucking tumor, you know, like or a laceration to the hand. Like that hand is cut. We all objectively agree that hand is cut. Some of this other stuff is more like we're trying to understand the brain better or the behavior better. So we're coming up with these things, and some of them, hopefully all of them or most of them, are as accurate as can be. But we have to also understand that we don't fully understand it.
Just like with most things. But I think also it depends on the purpose. Some people use mental illness as some kind of like attention getter or get out of jail free card, which is not the way. Which is poisoning the well for like people who are actually this is detrimental to their life. It's hard for them to live.
There's so many people that call it mental illness.
Yeah.
When it's like, nope, that's just your personality.
Which is, I mean, like if it's a disorder, I mean, this is arguable illness, but that's like semantics. So I think the goal should be, or what I think it was meant to be, is like when you diagnose kids with these, then you know they need special needs. Like, oh, they don't learn well in this environment, but if you put them in this environment, we can teach them better, right? And that's the way it should be used.
That's the way it should be.
Or like as an adult, we found out, you're this way because you have this, so like we can learn to work around it. Or I think the goal is to have people have the best lives and quote unquote normal lives as they can without being affected by the disorder.
Yes.
And that's what it should be for.
Yes.
And as long as it is that, I'm good with it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think there's too many people calling things disorders when they're not really disorders. They're just
so I agree.
Variation of personality.
And I think that's a Generation X, and this topic is going to go too far
another topic, just like the clocks.
For the time that we have today. But like, I think Generation X needs to own some blame for that.
Yeah.
I think there's something about our generation that as we got older, we became obsessed with diagnosis.
Well, you and I aren't Gen X.
Well, it depends on what metric you're looking at.
Yeah,
that's like
it's one of those things. Some people think it ends at 80. Some people think it ends at 83. Some people like whatever, but like whatever that 78 to 85, somewhere in there, 75 to 85, somewhere in that pocket. Like there's an obsession with the diagnosis.
It should more be like solution oriented. That's always.
Yes.
You should diagnose it, yes, but like, how do you fix it? How do you overcome it? How do you work with it? That's the.
Or
that matters more.
Do I just have this quirk about me that makes kind of me?
Well,
and it's not not a deficiency. It's just
the problem is that when I understand why something's called a disorder, like personality disorder, narcissistic disorder, a disorder is when it affects your life and people around you and how you function in society, right? Like if you have a tick, it doesn't really bother anyone. Someone might make fun of you, but if you are a person who are prone, like can't help yourself from lie and get yourself and other people in a bad situation, like that's a disorder. You gotta
sure.
I mean? I say this about like to tie it back in a bit to my point that like our generation was sold the like college and a dream, right?
Yeah,
and then you end up with the single family house with the picket fence with the golden retriever, 2.5 kids, et cetera, et cetera. But that house is always in the painting is always like on a hillside or on a such and such. But where it's not is in a community. So a kid goes outside to play, but now they don't want to go outside to play because there's nobody to fucking play with. So now they stay inside and they start fucking with these blocks, and like that's becomes their life. And then the blocks get dumb, so they start fucking with these Roblox. And then that becomes their life, right? And like they don't get the opportunity as much when they have subscribed to that lifestyle to interact. When I came outside, it was a whole situation, right? I had to learn how to make friends. I had to learn how to dodge enemies. I had to it was a petri dish of life.
Microcosm. That's what it's supposed to be for. That's what like growing up and being thrown into school. Part of it is like learning to socialize with other human beings, and navigate your way.
But we're also the homeschool generation, where more and more of our generation's kids are getting homeschooled. It's this like seclusion mentality, and then confusion when the kids don't know how to interact with other kids. It's like, well, you've taken them away from all the kids.
Anyway, you want to protect them or whatever. Or
yes.
You're only bad because you're influenced by bad things on the outside.
Yes.
And now you're fucking weird on the inside.
Yes. Dude, and I have a lot more to say on this subject, but today's not the day.
Okay, we'll write down autism and clocks.
I'm gonna put it in here in the notes.
Autistic clocks.
Autism and clocks. So, the other thing that I did that last night, I watched a movie. I watched
all the way through without sleeping.
I watched Alto Nights. The the De Niro movie where he's playing two roles.
Yeah, you were talking about that last week.
So did you see what I
did? However, I didn't have a problem. Mainly because he plays Frank Costello, who is a member of the commission, original gangster in America, and he plays Vito Genovese, who ends up becoming like one of the 5 families of New York, like Lucchese, Genovese, Colombo, Bonanno, and Gambino. Right, that's the big 5 families. And so when he's Genovese, he often has a hat on. And that's how that's what clued it in for me.
Yeah, so visually, I didn't have a problem.
Oh, just when they're
so some of the voice when he wasn't looking at the screen.
Yes. There's not a lot of distinguished. Yeah, there is a minor.
It's minor.
Yes.
But when I get distracted by something,
yes,
and I'd be like, oh, like somebody sent me a text. Like coming back into it, I'd have to be like, where are we? Who is this?
So I took what you said about that, put my phone away, and locked in because I was like, he had some confusion audibly with some of this stuff, and I locked in. Like,
that's why I said I wish I would have seen it in the theater because then I would have been laser focused on it, and I think it would have been better. So I'm going to rewatch it.
Yeah, I think it's good. A couple things about it. I don't think it's not exciting.
No.
Right. So like that's a major thing with a gangster movie is that you want a little bit of excitement, and there's not a whole lot of excitement.
The very, very beginning.
The very, very beginning and the very, very end.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see the end, but
okay. So
I stopped and I said that's why I said I'm going to come back under the right circumstances. And
so this I never knew, I'd never heard, and I'm not sure it's accurate.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Appalachia meeting? There's like a mob meeting that happened in the Appalachians in upstate New York. They were like all the bosses from the entire country were in one place, and these fucking local yokel state troopers like caught wind of it and like tried to
make
and it was a disaster for all parties involved.
I don't know much more than that.
Okay, so that's the climax of that movie.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, which is cool, and it's cool to see on the big screen. The motivations for how it happens and how
why they were
they make it seem like Frank Costello set it all up. I had never heard. I'm not saying it's not true, but I had never heard that.
And I'm not sure that you can ever really get like certifiable evidence,
right?
Because they're never going to tell you.
So it was a good story. I enjoyed it. Like Laura fell asleep on it, so she may not have enjoyed it as much. But I watched it all the way through. I gave it an 8 out of 10 or a B-. So yeah, and that's that. I'm gonna jump to questions first,
okay,
and then we'll circle back to notes.
How would you ask a question?
Great plug.
You can email us at nerdrageradiomail@gmail.com.
So we have Willie Whammo. He says, the bloody...
Willie Slammo.
Willie Slammo, you're right. Oh, the bloody irony. Hey, Nerd Rage crew. Remember that horrible question I asked a few episodes ago about seeing your favorite relative for the last time at the expense of seeing your ex at the same dinner? Yes, I do remember that. He said, might have to catch Joey up to speed before proceeding because he wasn't there. So it was just, you have, I think it was that your ex...
is dating
your father, and your father's ill or something. This is gonna be like the last time you get to see him. They have a host. You hate your ex. You hate that they're together. Do you go see them? It was like the premise of the previous question. So he says, as it turns out, I just ate my own fucking words. My older sister just graduated college, and my little sister just graduated high school, and my family threw a dinner event for both of them, both sides of the extended family, right down to my cousin's children. Well, as it turns out, one of my sisters became friends with the first girl I'd ever gotten especially freaky with, and nobody has any idea. Never did either of us think or hope we'd ever see each other again, but I guess having to eat with her in front of my entire extended family is even better. Several times we made awkward glances at each other because we both knew what the fuck we were both thinking about, and it could not have been more shameful and fucking awkward to say the least, especially when her new boyfriend was right there too. As I can very much guarantee, me and her are taking our misadventures to the grave, and I was the only one who knew why she left so suddenly. That was a lot, but thank you for providing many a good pod right in my own backyard. Toodles. Dude, shout out for you getting freaky, Will. Matt H. writes in, hey fellas, hope all is good with you fine gents. Also this here can go fuck itself right in the brown eye.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Hope all is good with you fine gents. Also, this here can go fuck itself right.
This whatever's coming up.
Maybe. Anyways, on to the question. It's a 2-parter, so please take your Adderall and stay on target. Stay on target. What is the worst type of apocalypse and what is the best? Some options include super plague, zombie outbreak. Slow zombies are fast. EMP, nuclear, or some kind of invasion. If you have others, throw them in. For me, the best would be the plague, so long as you were immune.
I mean,
Well, how about that?
No shit.
Yeah,
But like, you can't just be immune. That's
No,
a whole different scenario than
hold
apocalypse.
hold on. Why would you want to be immune?
Right.
It's like
I get it. I get it.
Why would you want to be
The last survivor.
Like one of 4 people that
Right.
survived nuclear holocaust, so that you could,
Good thing I
like,
didn't get that vasectomy.
so you could struggle to just eventually die with no, like, you can't fix it.
That's what my mom and I had the same. This is one of the things me and my mom do agree on. It's like, whatever, it doesn't matter what kind of apocalypse it is. I hope I'm in the middle of it, so I just fucking die right away. I don't want to be. I don't think it's an adventure. I don't see these movies and be like, oh, it would be fun to live in an apocalypse. No, man, it's awful.
I tell people all the
just let
time,
me die.
like, if there's like, if we look up and there's rockets heading towards DC,
Pull up a chair, bro.
no, I am driving as fast as possible straight to DC.
Yeah, you don't want to be in literal fallout of that.
Fuck no.
So he says, for me, the best would be so as long as you were immune, you don't have to worry about food and supplies, as the majority of people would be taking a dirt nap. The worst would be an EMP, as everyone is still alive and people are dumb and resources would quickly be used and wasted.
And everyone's gonna kill everybody.
Truly a hellscape. Now, for part 2, what do you supply yourself with? What is your loadout? What is your sidekick? No family members are sadly they passed during the incident. I'm loading up with a semi-automatic shotgun, 45 ACP pistol, and a crowbar. My sidekick would be Uncle Roger. Me and Uncle Roger having adventures in the wasteland, searching for orange shirts for the good uncle. Anyways, as always, I bid you peace.
I just need one working firearm with one good bullet. That's all I need. And then an apocalypse.
So I want to say my worst apocalypse is also an EMP.
Yeah.
And I worry. Actually, that's probably the only one I actually worry about.
That's something that can
Also
just
the
happen
one
without
that-
human. Like that can just be a solar flare.
Yeah.
Or it's like the most likely.
It's the most likely, and in my opinion, and it's the one we're least prepared for. Ironically,
It can't
It's a
be.
cyber attack.
yeah. My preferred would be alien invasion.
Oh
Just
just
for-
to be able to see it.
dude, one last pod. I gotta tell y'all what I feel about this shit.
Hey, but the worst part would be, like, in that situation, you're like, oh, fuck, alien invasion. You're like, oh, like, I can't wait to see what happens. And then you're the first one gone. I can't wait to see what... Over.
Yeah. In terms of like what I would do, I'll be honest with you. I'm not meant for that world.
Yeah, no, I don't think most of us are.
I'm
in
not-
first world countries. I don't think we are.
Yeah, I'm not a survivor.
Unless you're a doomsday prepper, even those guys aren't actually ready.
Yeah.
Most
So,
of them. Some of them are. I've seen some doomsday prepper who actually can live.
I would try to rally up with Joe only because he lives a couple of doors down from me, and I know that he's well armed.
Oh, you'll find all my guns with one in my hand on the floor.
Oh.
because I
That'd be the easiest one to pick up.
yeah. So, you know that one works.
For me, like, so I've done the whole wood survival. Like, I can make it some amount of time. I don't know if it's fucking worth it.
Right. That's the thing.
Right.
It's like, what is there to live for at that point?
Right.
Especially when he says like your family members are already dead. I'm like,
Yep.
what the f-?
Like, what am I going to jerk? I can't. I told you guys I can't see things in my
Yeah.
mind.
My
Like,
dad.
what am I going to jerk off to?
You had to find old Playboys.
My dad would
Always
always say.
find magazines, bro.
Well, they're in the woods.
My dad used to have this one-liner back when he was sharp that has stuck with me my whole life. A life that's not worth living isn't worth living.
Right.
100%.
Right.
You know. Paul C. said, Happy New Year's, guys. Given the current music industry trends and level of accessibility, do you think current generation will have a better or worse appreciation for music? Oh, definitely worse.
Yeah, way worse.
Yeah, it's already that way. Like, meeting, I don't know, because I am regularly meeting new people. It's partially new people. It's not the wrong choice of words. It's just not the most appropriate choice of words. Young people.
They're newer. They're newer.
due to the nature of my job.
The next time I see a baby, I'm like, oh, a new person.
It's true.
And while I have found some people that are into music, like they like music. Music is a part of their life. They don't care about it in the same way. And I think it is entirely due to accessibility. You know, and I also think it's due to how many people make music now, and then how quickly the hot record becomes the cold record now. So there's three things working in concert are kind of.
I saw an interesting.
In concert. I saw what you did there.
I do this.
I saw an Instagram reel the other day that was interesting. It's like autotune was invented in '97, and then they just showed like 10-second snippets of people performing from '96. And just like that, being a singer then meant way more about ability to actually sing
So
because like you
that's
had,
true.
in order to hit those notes.
But we had pitch correcting software and everything.
I know, but even then, like it took more of a professional.
Yeah, an engineer. You need an engineer
to really. But
sound
this was
engineer.
live performances.
Oh yeah, well now you can do it. I mean, any kid can auto tune his voice with a click of a mouse. Now you get a Pro Tools.
I'm sure I could download an app.
Probably, and just tap it. It was funny because not that I need to always bring it up, but I will, and I am, and I do. What was the song? There was some song that I sang on for Skullface stuff. I don't think it wasn't this past one. I think it was the one before. I think it was Truth. And they went to auto-tune my voice. Not to do like the T-Pain voice, but to like to basically just do the pitch correction stuff.
Yeah.
And I was in perfect B minor.
Nice.
So did I tell you about our friend McConnell?
No, but I'm always down to hear about it.
That he sent me every one of your Skullface.
Oh, music videos? He could have just sent the playlist.
No, but I think he wanted like the dramatic effects. And like we were just having a conversation. It was an aside. It wasn't even like the meat of the substance. And we're like sitting at the table talking, and I was like, "Ding!" And I was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's the first one." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I'll listen to it in a minute." And it's like, "Ding!" He's like, 2.
Yeah, I've done 10, I think.
Yeah.
10 or 11. And I want to do one this year. Side note. So I've got one. But I don't know if I got the balls to put it out.
Oh.
I haven't recorded it, but I fucking got one. But it's going to require a lot of that B minor. and I don't know if I got the balls to put it out. But it's fucking good. I was working on it the other day, and Jana saw it. And Jana was like, is that and I was like, yeah. And she was like, let me read it. And she read it, and she was like, this is fucked. And I was like, I know. But I don't know. I might do 2.
That might be on the $10.
It might just live there. But I might do one regular too, because I like to do them. All right. So then we got one from Mal B. He says, Predator, killer of killers. Hi, I'm Morgan from California, and I'm drunk. I like you already. He says, it's interesting that Joey's views the predator species as generally honorable. And then he says, they don't have any skills beyond using their technology to kill shit. That's lame. If I'm going to honorably hunt a deer, I'd use a bow and arrow, learn taxidermy to make a cool trophy, eat the meat, and maybe learn how to make leather out of the skin. But if I want to poach, I'd bring camo drones and automatic weapons. If I was desperately hungry, I'd land somewhere in the middle. They don't even use their kills to make cool trophies. They just
do. What do you mean?
Hold on. They just steal shit from someone they killed and call it good. Predators were always dickheads looking for false honor, in my opinion. Shout out to Spellcheck, and I fucking love this show.
I like that he's drunk listening to the show and having this deep insight. But no, they do. They
keep the skulls.
They keep the skulls. They have a lot of skulls. They have more technology than they use. So, like, it's the same for us, right? We have people going to hunt with rifles, with deers who don't have thumbs, right? It's I don't think it's too far off from them using whatever they do use against us who have guns and are smart enough to run and or hunt back.
I understand your point, but I think I do honestly tend to lean towards him, and just in the sense that even the technology they back down to,
it's still really
it's
I get it. Like honor,
even if they went without the heat vision, it would start.
That's all they have, though. That's their downside. They don't have eyesight. They're really bad at looking at things.
That would even it out.
Because even the heat vision is not good vision, and it can be tricked and stuff.
Not bad vision. They found Arnold until they got in some mud.
But then once he's in the mud, you couldn't see him no more.
Yeah, but that's Arnold. That's a tip of the hat more to Arnold.
Come on, get me. How do you like my Arnold voice?
That's pretty good.
I told you, I love all of your
accents.
Once
in a while, man, I bust them out.
It's my favorite. All right, Jason M writes in, hello, nerds. So last week, Bobby watched Man of Steel with Farrell. It sounded like he liked it, but I want to hear more of all your takes on that movie. Man of Steel is one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. The arguments I always hear are that he wasn't happy enough and didn't save enough people. He shouldn't have killed Zod because Superman doesn't kill. My thoughts on it are that I believe he isn't Superman yet in that movie.
He's not.
Yeah, agreed.
It wasn't.
It's his journey of becoming Superman. He didn't have much experience yet. He had only just really found out his history or where he came from, and he had never gone up against someone as powerful as Zod.
And I don't think he actually found out his true history. He just scratched the surface.
He just scratched the surface, 100%. He says, by the end of that movie, after killing Zod, I believe he becomes Superman. The movie set the foundation of what he would go on to be as Superman. If we would have gotten a Man of Steel 2, they could have done, dove into why he doesn't kill, the hopeful side, the saving side, and moving the fight away from harm's way. It would have shown his growth as a character. We got robbed of what could have been something great. I just want to hear all your thoughts. I couldn't agree with
everything,
you. Yeah,
everything you said.
Yeah, I couldn't
But I
agree with
think
you
they
more.
showed why he doesn't kill even then.
Yeah, well, and
It was his
I mean,
upbringing.
he
Yes, it's a
respects
nature
the
nurture
sanctity of
thing.
life.
But it was also about all the instances they showed that he had to hold back in order to protect his identity of who he was. Also showed that if he were to not hold back, that he would become the focal point of society, and that he would be meddling and interfering with everybody else by just doing what he could do.
And not in the right light, right?
Right.
Like Superman became the world became aware of Superman in this movie by stopping an alien invasion. The world could have became aware of Superman in this movie by killing 3 5-year or 10-year-olds that were picking on him.
Right.
you know.
Yes.
So like it's I think that's all by design. And like I said last show, like I think that, you know, when he killed Zod, I think that left a psychological scar on him. I think that was going to be something explored as to guilt that he carried and how it shaped his further behavior, his future behavior.
That whole fight, the whole endeavor shaped him to it changed who he was as a person after having to fight these people.
Yeah, even in Batman vs Superman, which we haven't gotten to yet, but it's coming soon.
I know. I've been waiting.
There's a special cut.
There is a big, yes, for sure. There is a significant fight scene, and players in that, I can't remember now in my mind's eye how it goes, but players in that fight specifically move the fight to an abandoned place to not cause any problems, probably off of the back of the incident that had just happened. You know, so these characters are learning in real time.
Right.
But yeah, I completely agree, man. I wish we had more time, but we're gonna
so much stuff we wish we had more time for.
Yes,
today.
but we're gonna dive more into this stuff because we're gonna watch BVS, and I'm sure Man of Steel will come back up. So that's not a done conversation, Jason. That's a paused conversation.
Watching stuff here or
We've been watching at his place. But I'm down anywhere. So Trey writes in and says, all right, guys, I've got another few questions I thought would be interesting. Every Sunday I go to my aunt and uncle's house for dinner, and 9 times out of 10, it's the same food, roast with potatoes. It's the thing I look forward to the most and can't even think how my life would be without that. Do any of you guys have family traditions that have kept your family together over the years, or something that you all do collectively that will never go away?
Well, it's not my blood family, but Pizza Fridays are pretty big.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty big thing.
So like Farrell and I hang out the most outside of potting here, and we're like, when we hang out, there's with the crew of people that we hang out with, mutual friends, there's an awful lot of tradition there in some of those choices. So some of that stuff in my immediate family, like now we've kind of created our own traditions. There are a few that have come mostly from her side. We have an egg fight at Easter, which is like
so well off to
I know in this economy,
Chucking bills around. Like that.
which is like I think some German thing.
Are they cooked?
Yes, hard boiled.
and you eat them afterwards.
Yes,
Okay, good. Okay, then that's fine.
yeah. It's
deal.
it's like you have the egg, they're dyed, and you like give a quick tap on top of the other one, and one will break and one will hold, and then that's the winner, and then you kind of, it's like a bracket, and then there's eventually a champion. But I think that's some old school German shit that went to Argentina and then came up to the
FanDuel have odds on this? Because I like that.
yeah, probably.
It's
And
like
then,
pencil fight back in the middle school.
you know, once again, she has a Hispanic family, so like Christmas Eve is a big deal. You know, so that's a tradition of her family. One tradition that I carry on from my upbringing is that like the Easter Bunny is like a trickster. So like there's always like riddles and puzzles and shit to acquire any goodies on Easter, and the Easter Bunny plays an active role in
And
that.
this last year was
Passive aggressive Easter Bunny, yeah. And then Laura and I have started a lot of traditions with our kids that we hope that will continue. But we make pizza on Christmas now, like as opposed to a turkey or a ham or Chinese food.
I do Chinese food.
We do.
They open.
Yeah.
The Asian people don't close for
So
holidays.
shit like that.
But yeah.
Do you have any, Joey?
No, I mean I see my family regularly. We have a very small circle, as normal circles this week. But like hot pot is one thing we do. That's like the most family thing we do, and we do that once in a while
Well, and we also
at home. I don't
fair-
like to go out for hot pot. I like to be home for hot pot.
the hundreds episodes here have kind of become a tradition of like when we reach 100 milestone, we open the doors to a lot of people. We do it at night.
I feel like this past one was different.
We have a lot of drinks flowing.
I feel like those.
Yeah, but 500 was.
Well, I think 500 was even more special.
I mean, I feel like in the past there's been like a fuck ton of people at one point.
Yeah, I think that maybe I limited
back?
it. I think
Yeah.
I did. No, for 500, I only invited Nerd Rage participants.
Yes, that's why. Because like
Yes.
400, remember 400 was
Yeah, for
a lot of
400, I'm
fucking
just like,
people.
hey,
It was
man, are you in
crazy.
driving distance?
Yeah,
come on,
that
come
was,
on
I
through.
remember I was taking shots with people
Yeah.
at 400.
Yeah.
Oh, did we do that for 600?
yes. He said on the more nerdy side of things, what are all of your thoughts about Paramount saying they have no plans for Transformers 2? I found I'm not surprised by it because they've kind of been leaning that way, but it is a bummer because they did kind of get that
I
right.
like that word a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no saying they won't make a show out of it, though, hopefully.
Same.
There's a new artist going to take over the Marvel Transformers comics, I heard. Not an
Yes,
artist, a writer.
Yeah, I saw that. I
Robert
haven't-
Kirkman or something?
Well, it's the Skybound comics.
Okay.
But I haven't been impressed with the Skybound stuff.
Well, they're changing writers now, so maybe
Yeah, there you go. Astartes Pete writes in and says, "Hello, lovely boys. Hope you're all well. Hey, Joey, have you heard about that peekaboo virus? Apparently, 100% chance of ending up in the ICU. On to business. Randomly scrolling TV channels recently. I'll give you one. I came across Aliens. It's one of my all-time favorite films, but also one I hardly ever pick to watch. Anytime I found it on TV, though, I'm going to end up watching it till the end. What are your films that if you randomly encounter, you're going to have to settle in?
Hey, that's one of them.
Boogie Nights is one for me. If that motherfucker's on, like I get sucked into it, so to speak.
I've got one.
Which one?
Hunt for Red October.
Oh yeah, that's you love that shit,
Dude,
you do. Goodfellas is like that. There's a bunch of them. 89 Batman. There's a bunch of movies. Like if I'll come into a room and that shit's on, I'm like, oh, let me fucking have a
That's
seat
actually
here.
a lot. But like,
I wasn't doing much.
you hardly ever come across TV. Well, I don't watch TV much.
Yeah, and I don't have cable. Like
Yeah.
it's rare.
But if I'm somewhere where TV is on, like there's a lot of movies I would sit and watch all the way through.
Well,
Yeah, and I could go on and on.
Especially like 80s and 90s movies.
Yeah. So I got written by Ian and Mark, who were neighbors of my grandmother. They've come and hung out a few times at different events, and they sent me something, but I had a few drinks, and I said I was going to add it. But they said, can you ask Farrell about his thoughts on Justin Tucker? Ex-Ravens PK Tucker gets 10-week suspension. Do you have any thoughts?
so he got released from the Ravens.
So I'm speaking on this from a position of absolute ignorance.
Same.
So read it one more time.
Okay. So he sent me a link to this article on ESPN that says ex-Ravens PK Tucker gets 10 weeks suspension.
Oh, so the league suspended him on top of him being released. So
What do you do?
So it was alleged that he was going to.
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, therapy, like massage parlors, but not like rub and tug massage parlors, but expecting it to be a rub and tug.
Oh, okay.
So, like 20 different masseuses came out and said that he'd exposed himself or had alleged that he was interested in.
He has money. Why don't you just hire a hooker?
But I think that's normal in
Okay.
that world of like you get famous and you think. The rules don't apply to me.
But okay, that's fine. I understand. But like we've had so much examples of that not happening nowadays.
But what are your thoughts on it?
So my thoughts are like 20 is a lot, to
to ignore?
yeah, like when there's smoke, there's fire. you know, a lot of those kind of thoughts to it. It sucks that, you know, that 20 random people, you know, can claim something, and then that makes me think where there's smoke, there's fire, but there's no real evidence of it. So like, I'm kind of like in that world of, I can see that a person with his celebrity status, especially in a place like Baltimore, like you become that target, and you could also be that person that thinks, I'm going to this massage parlor and paying $500 to get my leg worked out, but that also means that my dick gets worked out. You know?
My third leg.
So it's like
Legs.
it's just one of those things where, you know, we weren't designed to be as known as,
fame is not
people.
You know
what I mean? Like, and it fucks the whole world up, and sometimes the people at the top got to fall down so that other people can rise up and they can fall down too.
Wow, that's aptly put. I am going to fly through these notes real quick because we have 3 minutes.
I was going to do it next week, but they might not be relevant.
So first look at He-Man. I don't know if anybody saw it. I think it looks great.
Yeah,
he looks
normal.
the part.
He looks normal Jack. He doesn't look steroid Jack.
Yep.
You know, but I could use steroid Jack for He-Man.
Yeah, me too. Marge being dead. So
I didn't even know Simpsons was still on.
So it's for the season finale of season 36, but it's not, to my understanding, it's not in real time. So it's a fast forward look into the future, and Homer outlives Marge. So they're showing Marge's funeral, but it's like, you know, it's Simpsons time. It could be in 100 years from now.
They've been
Right, 'cause they
like 30 years
haven't
forever.
aged
Yeah.
at all anyway.
Well,
Correct.
they have had people die though.
Yes.
Permanently.
Yes. Yes.
Ned Flanders' wife and
Yes.
Apu did.
Did Apu die? Because of the name,
Yeah.
because of the racial stuff.
Yeah.
Phase 7 is going to introduce X-Men.
Exciting. It's 3
And the
years,
director is the guy from Thunderbolt. So I haven't seen Thunderbolts
I've
yet.
heard good things about
but
it.
I've heard the good things.
Well, let me know when it's on. I'll come watch it with you.
Perfect. There was 2 new Fantastic Four trailers for their last
I like
push.
them.
I love it.
I like that.
I don't know
like
why,
that.
but it feels like they
It
got
feels
it
good.
right to me somehow.
I know people shitting on this girl server, but like she seems straight.
So I would prefer Norman Rad.
Right.
But
That's what
she,
we're expecting.
but she seems cool.
Yeah, I like the way they did her voice, the acting, whatever it is. I'm like, okay, that's the server.
And I think that my view is that this is probably in a different universe.
Yeah, they're gonna combine everything after Secret.
And when they combine it, we might get a different surface.
Because Secret Wars in the comics is when like you find out there's a multiverse and everyone's fighting everyone else off.
Right.
Everyone is destroying every other universe to save their own. So.
There was a YouTube trailer for a documentary called Video Heaven.
Bro, that gave me some feels, man. I'm like, bro, I remember this era.
So me
we lived
too.
Through it.
I want to see this documentary made by different people.
I don't know who made it. Who's making this?
I don't know either.
You don't
But
like
it doesn't look like the narrator's boring as fuck. Like that, you know, and I don't know if that's a sign of what this thing is going to be, but like I want this story told.
And
I
like
just
an
don't
80s
know if I
fashion?
want it told by this person.
Do you want to be told by like an 80s cracked out businessman or coked out businessman?
No, but I just want somebody more engaging. I want it to be more exciting than what it seems from the trailer, which I could be reading wrong. And then there was a Naked Gun trailer.
I don't know how I feel about it, man.
I got 1 minute. I'm going to say this. I get it. I do get it. They've taken the Taken identity and turned it into a goofy cop. Like that's the character from Taken. So I do get it. And like you, I don't know how I feel about it.
I will watch it.
I think it's a smarter choice than having him do a new version of that character, but I don't know if I want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't the trailer yet because I got it.
Yeah, you got it like 10 minutes ago.
I don't know if we've passed that time of that type of movie or not.
So yeah, we made it. I have to go to my kid has a play that she's performing in here at so I'm looking forward to that. I've been running lines with her all week too, and she's nailing it. She had, I don't mean to be like the braggadocious dad and shit, but she had she got the lead.
Oh wow,
That makes a noise for her getting the lead. She had her lines memorized on the first day.
Wow, I mean she's about it.
She was off script first day. Like she loves that shit. It's great to see. So with that being said, shout out to Chris, of course, on assignment. Shout out to Phil on our notes. Great notes this week, Phil. And and on Twitter. And shout out to Dante on Facebook. And with that,
Flappy Labius,
moist thighs,
tight dick player.